Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. No, this way.
That way, yeah.
A small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today, right now in studio, is Drexel.
What's up, everybody?
And we will be joined momentarily by Mr. Hook. We had a little tech issue, and he should be on in just a second. And I think the tech issue is that his email server is racist against me, which I'm going to address with him immediately.
I learned something today, Nick, while we're waiting.
You learned something? What's that?
I'm a simp.
Yeah,
according to whoever that is.
Well, I'm glad someone else finally knows what I've known for a long time.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for the chat to catch up with Simpology.
Simpology 101, man.
So how you been, buddy?
I've been great, man.
Yeah?
I've been great. I am planning a couple of trips. Colombia just opened up. Guess whose black ass is gonna be in Colombia?
I was gonna make a joke, but yours. I'm
this
guessing.
guy. Yeah, so Medellin, land of Pablo Escobar, is what the plan is. So a buddy of mine is going to Bogota, right?
But you don't even do cocaine.
I don't.
It's always time to start.
Yeah, so Colombia is on the list, and I still gotta get to the DR, but this thing has just been ruining everything.
Oh, it's the worst. I'm done.
I'm done. Like,
yeah, I'm like,
I got things to do.
Give me the coof. Take me to jail.
Go away the key.
I'm afraid to cop. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but the record skip.
Yeah, but at this point, like, I'm over it. I don't care. Look, I'm sorry. I mean, I've been over it since before it started, but now You're really over it. This thing has wrecked vacations, trips, events.
It ruined your parents' plans. Remember, they missed. What are your parents? There was a milestone they missed. What was it? Was it?
I don't
Easter,
know.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was Easter.
Was it Easter?
Like the first Easter since we had kids.
Yeah, the first child.
Yeah.
That's sad though. Like a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that people have just missed because it's ruined everything. And Nick, there's no reason for it to be ruined.
No.
I'm like, you people are still scared of this? Come on, man.
It's they could have. Hate to backseat Monday morning quarterback as a non-expert, but it seems to me like based on what the overwhelming majority of like death statistics and stuff is, they could have closed down critical facilities rather than whole cities. They could have just not sent a bunch of sick people into nursing homes to kill the other old people.
They could have done that.
That would have been a good plan. But they could have done things, and then they could have had targeted lockdowns in major metro areas rather than whole states, and let people kind of like manage. They could have let the states could have more managed the situation in ways that we've done with pandemics in the past. And that's actually with smaller scale targeted lockdowns rather than just like everything.
Shut it all down.
Yeah.
And then when your economy collapses, what do people say, Nick?
Well, then they blame you for they're like, I'm not here to defend Trump. Like, I don't really care.
Orange Man bad.
But yeah, the Orange Man is bad. But what I'm talking about is like the guy didn't shut down the economy.
Nope.
They dump on him for that, but then they're also trying to dump on him for the economy. And it's like, well, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
Those were states shutting down the economy, and states with major economic centers like New York, LA, California. LA shut down before California.
It did.
And
California. I agreed with Trump from the beginning. Actually, I just took it a step further. I was the guy who was saying no restrictions of any kind. I believe in survival of the fittest, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm actually with you on that too.
Because, okay, let's watch this, Nick.
Because I could just not go out.
You could just not, right? Like the Sturgis rally, right?
Yeah.
X amount of people go to the Sturgis rally. Then they say, oh my God.
An alarming amount of people.
An alarming amount. And then what do they say, Nick? because these people don't care about a mask. So they're here to have a good time, kick some ass, throw back some booze, and ride into the sunset, right? Oh, they're horrible. They spread. Everything was gonna spread anyway.
Yeah.
Nick, most people have already had it or do already have it, right? It's already in your system.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Because that's how these things work, right? It's already in people. That's why you better stop.
I was just gonna quote whatchamacallit, Last Dragon, right? Like, what you're looking for is in you.
It's in you already, man. Speaking of which,
yeah.
Speaking of it's already in you, I didn't send you the article, I don't think, but I sent it to a couple of people I know. There's a woman 76 years old who retired from prostituting, right?
76.
Her body
At
count.
The spry age of 76, she turned in early then, huh?
She did.
Most people these days are working well into their 80s.
Right? I mean, I hope she's collecting a Social Security check. So
quitter is that? Only if she reported it on her income.
Only if she did. You know what her body count was, Nick? She hit a milestone. That's why she quit.
Like 100,000?
Higher.
250? 500,000?
Right there.
Just $500,000?
$500,000. Can't make this up.
Could she walk, or did she have to like waddle?
She looked pretty horrible. I didn't even read the article. I saw the headline.
She was 76. Lots of 76-year-olds look horrible.
This one looked worse.
Just realize that one day before that article was written and that picture was taken, she was still working, right?
She was still working. Well, you know what though? When you see things like this, Nick, now, you know how I got to that article?
No.
I was hanging with my girl T, St. Louis T. I think she might be watching tonight. And I told her about Florida Man. Because, you know, as soon as you look up Florida Man, you already know you're going down the rabbit hole.
There's a website where you put in your birthday, like your exact birth date, year, and everything, and it returns to you the Florida Man crime story of the day.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You got to find that for me. well, this one was the dude who was asphyxiated by his pet anaconda while having sex.
With his anaconda? Where he was banging the snake?
He was.
Well, of course. Because what?
Because what else do you do with a pet anaconda other than fuck it?
His estate should sue Nicki Minaj.
Oh, jeez.
Right? Because of the song. Anaconda. Clearly.
Did she make a song? Because I don't listen to Nicki Minaj ever.
I don't listen to Nicki Minaj. That's the name of the song, is called Anaconda. I don't even know what it's about, but I'm going to assume that there's something sexual in the song.
I'm going to assume that too.
Yeah, I think it's a safe sort of assumption.
Well, do you know what his situation was before the anaconda death?
No.
He was rushed to the emergency room due to, wait for it, Richard Gere, the gerbil up the ass.
Oh, come on.
And it ate part of his, it tore through a wall of his intestine, man.
Tekashi 6ix9ine is in the news.
Ugh, God.
He's hospitalized due to diet pill and caffeine overdose.
Wait, what? Wait, what dude takes diet pills?
I don't know.
And what dude or anyone who gets caffeine, how do you get a caffeine overdose? Is that possible? Do we have anybody in the chat who can confirm that? Is that a thing? I've never heard this before in my life. Caffeine or I'm assuming, when you mix things, right? Things that are uppers or whatever with, I'm assuming it has some kind of reaction, but I've never heard of a caffeine overdose.
I don't know. I mean, I assume you can overdose. I mean, you can
overdose on anything.
You die on water.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Except my man on Stan Lee's Superhumans.
Yeah.
See that, the human fire hose? He put down like 3 gallons of water in his stomach, and he would hold it in his stomach, and then he could spit it out at a distance and pressure.
Really?
Yeah.
Question for you, because you were the one who introduced me to the show.
No, he's not dying, right?
Well, obviously. Was he Indian?
No. This is a black dude.
A black spitter?
Do we
Male
have to
female?
make the joke as to how he probably got the superpower?
There's that. Wait, hold on. What was your first opinion of him when you saw him? How did he sound? How did he look?
I mean, he looks normal. When he chugs the water, his stomach bulges out like massive.
Okay.
But other than that, he looked relatively. I mean, just
what was
like
his background? Because I mean, the Indian dudes were always going to commit suicide before they discovered their superpower.
I've got. I don't know what his background was, but I imagine he fell in a kiddie pool, right, and was drowning because he can't swim, because that's the race joke.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah,
so, so he just
there's like 4% of black people who can swim.
He just drank it down.
So.
And then he I don't know
how could he get back out?
I don't know. He could call it back up somehow and just like hose it out. It was disgusting.
Wow.
It was disgusting.
With force, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed, man. I mean, I'm not impressed with this camera because I look all weird, but
what's wrong with the camera?
I don't know. I just look all awesome.
Is it because you take up the whole frame? I think
could
is
be.
the problem.
Yeah, when I turn this way, it's
now you know why Tekashi 6ix9ine was dying on diet pills. This camera makes me look funny.
Camera makes me look funny.
I don't think that dude was in danger of being large, right? Like he's not a big built guy.
No, he could have been built had he done real time, but instead, when you're a rat, you don't do real time. So,
guys, Chris will hopefully be on in just a second. He's getting you know when you turn on your computer and you get the update that ruins everything.
Don't you know how you can't skip that though, right?
You're
like,
do it.
Oh no, I'm gonna do this later. Like, no.
I had I don't think it was the middle of a show. I think it was before I did live shows early on. I had an update hit while I was recording, and the computer shuts down. And I was like, I had the thing recording. There's a program running right now, and you just shut down in the middle of it. I hate you.
Yeah. Do you know where you get that also? You get it on your phone every now and then, right? You're doing whatever, and all of a sudden, like, fuck. Here's the best. It's doing it in the background, right?
Yeah.
You're on your phone, and it just starts going slow. You're like,
it's terrible.
You're like, dude, what happened to my phone? Is it 1G? And all of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute. This is going way too slow. So you pull up your settings, you click, and sure enough, it's a whole system update going in the background. You're like,
so how many G's until cell phone technology really gets dangerous? Like we're at 5 G's right now.
It's coming,
and that's starting to sound like a gang.
It
somewhere,
is.
somewhere.
I mean, like MS-13, they're gonna be like 8G.
Your phone's gonna drive by and just
right.
We fill the whole car.
Hey man, well with these Teslas and everything, right? The self-driving.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the thing, man. Hey, real talk. How would that look? So you get a drone, right?
Okay, yeah.
You get a drone in a self-driving car, and you murk somebody. Who takes the charge? Because you can always be like, I didn't plan anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess right now the way they do it is your hands are supposed to still be on the wheel and you're still supposed to be paying attention.
Yeah.
Which everybody's actually just sitting there watching Harry Potter movies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy who died.
Wait, what?
Yeah, dude was like a big advocate for the self-driving or driver assist on Tesla or whatever. And then his car just plowed straight into the back of a semi-truck at like full speed. And he died. And when they got there, he had one of those portable DVD players playing Harry Potter. He's sitting there on the way to work like, nah, I'm good. But yeah, apparently they're not great at detecting like a white or off-white truck when it's an overcast day. It kind of blends. And the computer's not great at picking that out yet. They're still hammering that one out.
Literally.
So that guy got toasted.
Damn.
But
I mean, he died doing what he loved.
What movie would you want to be like? Because that's always the thing. Like, don't let me die with my pants down or whatever. It's like, what movie? How do you want to have someone find your desiccating corpse?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
My girl in Chicago, good friend of mine, we had this talk once, and her primal fear is the same as my primal fear, which is I don't want to die before I've erased my browser history.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like when you went down the porn rabbit hole.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never even heard of this pornography or whatever it is that you're talking about. Is that weird videos of kittens and puppies and
Yeah, if you're into furs. So
no.
So-
I should commission furry art of you.
That's a thing?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know about furry artists?
What?
Like people who draw furry pornography specifically.
How would they do what? I shouldn't ask what.
Because they make bundles of money doing it.
Who wants to see? Well,
Furries have infinite money.
why is that a thing?
I don't know, but it is. Actually, where is it? This, now this isn't furry art. This picture of me was drawn by a furry artist.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. Well,
But, I mean, you're not a furry.
I'm not a furry in this.
But it's a furry artist,
But
yeah.
what he draws normally is furry art and typically pornographic furry art.
Okay, so
But he draws the line at drawing animal-shaped genitalia. They got to have human penises and vaginas.
okay.
Yeah, it's not degenerate.
I can't look at you. You know what? You know what's really wild, man? Is their furries run Google?
Oh, I didn't show the stream.
Oh.
Here, there you go. It's Bonitis. Bonitis drew this. He drew it on stream. It was pretty good.
That's hardcore, man.
I've interviewed him a couple times. Good guy. Like him.
It's a thing, man. Is that Nick? I think about the rabbit hole that I go down, right?
I don't want to think about that.
I don't mean to, but you can't help it.
You can't? You can't help it? Who's typing the words? Who's clicking the links? Was Russell Greer showing at your house? Taking you to Olive Garden? Like,
I just wanted breadsticks.
just hit me that phone. Just hit me with that phone. And then he starts hitting the links for you or whatever, drooling all over the
It's pretty much
screen.
what happened. Well, but here's the thing, Nick. You get to that point where, like you said, you know, if like what movie would you want to see die? Like, here's the thing. You don't know it's going to be your last movie, though.
No, I know. That's
So
what I'm saying.
in his like, I bet you he didn't want to die watching Harry Potter.
That's what I'm saying. Never waste your time.
Yeah. If someone said,
Like, if you're going to watch Harry Potter, you better be in a padded room, no sharp edges,
"Yep,
no trip hazards, nothing. You're not drinking anything but water that you sourced yourself because
correct."
at any time you could die. And if you're watching Harry Potter, like The Sorcerer's Stone or something,
Mhm.
that would be a disgrace. So you can
It would
only
be.
watch those movies in safety. When you're living dangerously, that's when you're watching Scarface or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were watching like Scarface, Wolf of Wall Street, anything that involves someone on a coke binge, that would be something good to die to. Especially if you're gonna get rammed into a fucking semi, because that's gotta be awful. Like that moment that you because
you're going to take a minute. Like
it's gonna be a quick shit and
like
you
outside
smash
of
through.
some rare circumstances, he probably was alive, like reaching for the thing, trying to change the DVD before he kicked off.
I never asked you, how would you like to die? You know, everyone always says like, because my grandma was always dying in her sleep, and she did. She ended up dying in her sleep.
Oh, okay.
So I was always like happy about that. Like, oh yeah, that's how she always wanted to go.
Well,
Me
unless-
personally, I don't know if I wanted
Unless
that.
it was Freddy Krueger involved.
Right?
Because that's dying in your sleep too. That
But-
did never look pleasant.
Never.
I don't know, man. I know how I don't want to die. I don't want to die in the cold.
Yeah.
Because, like, I thought about that. Getting in a car accident in the winter in Minnesota and dying on, like, the road.
Like double
with
suffer.
cold, like, where you, like, are hurt, you can't move, and you're just like, oh, fuck, I'm cold.
Yeah.
That would be terrible to me.
Yeah.
I would hate that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know how I'd choose to go.
It's tough because like each one kind of has like its own pluses and minuses, right? So I think that's why the dying in your sleep is kind of like the one that everyone kind of gravitates toward.
Yeah, because they imagine that means it's going to be relatively peaceful, painless.
Painless, peaceful. But my only thing was this though, Nick. This is my one thing about dying in your sleep.
Yeah.
Unless you are like just like done with life, you had something to do the next day.
Yeah.
Every night I go to bed and I struggle to sleep. I go to bed and like my brain is like, I'm already thinking about the next day, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea that I'm dying before I did something, I don't know, because remember, oh hey,
hey, I think we got our guest here. Mr. Hook, are you with us? Here, I'll turn on our cameras. Hey.
Oh, you can hear us.
Good.
Hello?
How's it going? Yeah, I'm Nick. This is Drexel.
Drexel, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing, brother?
Well,
It happens to the best of us.
Oh, you're muted for them. Hold on, let me fix that. Sorry, guys. All right, sorry.
Oh.
You're unmuted now.
okay, right on. Well, I'm happy. Thanks for being patient with me.
Or should be. Nope, I screwed it up. There we go. Oh my goodness.
low
Yeah,
audio?
thanks for being patient with me as I've done this show for years and I'm still bad at the technical aspects of it. So it's no problem. We were just
No worries.
we were just filling time anyway.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for having me. I'm a big fan, and appreciate the opportunity to be on the show.
Oh, absolutely. So wait, you've seen this show before?
Yeah, I've checked it out before. One of your fans reached out to me and encouraged me to come on, and so I checked out some of your episodes, and I like the breakdown that you do of the different pleadings and stuff. You're a patient man, and it's cool.
sometimes very patient. But yeah, and I was reading through. I didn't get through the entire deposition that you sent me, but I was reading through it, and I got to one of the spots, which I'm guessing we're going to talk about, and it was what the definition of a lie was.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that. The New York Times did like a dramatic reenactment of the the photocopier, or what is a Xerox machine. And it was that level of ridiculousness, right?
It was, yeah.
And so yeah, I want to get into that case, but if we could spend just a couple minutes, I'd like to introduce you to the stream. Some of the viewers may not know who you are. I think most of them do, because we kind of followed your the situation you got some internet infamy for. But I'd like to know more about like you, not that part of you also. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
Your background and stuff. So.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in California. I'm a native, born in LA, and I was raised in a kind of a rural county called San Luis Obispo County. It's kind of halfway between LA and San Francisco. And I went to college at UCSB. I'm a gaucho. And then I went to law school in San Diego. And I worked at an insurance defense firm for about 5 years, kind of cut my teeth there, and learned how to litigate and kind of working for the dark side, so to speak. Got a lot of good experience. And
yeah,
then
I'm not a fan of insurance defense attorneys.
No,
I hate it.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a terrible. I think it's a terrible job. It's thankless. You're working for adjusters and insurance companies that are just trying to settle claims for the absolute lowest amount possible. Human life, human misery, injuries, they're all just things that become a joke or, just something that is minimized or, dismissed. And you try everything you can to get out of cases, to settle cases, to file motions for summary judgment. I know that side intimately. So when I started my own practice, I focused primarily on plaintiff's work and going the other route and trying to help people that have been injured or that have lost a loved one. So I can navigate the insurance defense world pretty well, and I litigate really hard. I take depos, I file summary judgment motions for plaintiffs if I need to, and I work really hard, and I've had good success. And I'm married. I have a daughter, and like to do outdoor stuff. I like to shoot and go on my boat.
They still let you out in California, huh?
Right.
Yeah, actually, they do. And there is there was a recent ruling that invalidated the prohibition on extended clip magazines, which
Right.
was interesting. So first thing I did is went out and got some 30-round clips for my AR-15, and I have fun at the range with that. I'm not a hunter or anything. I don't believe in killing animals unless you're going to use the animal for some purpose, for eating it. I respect hunters that go out and do that, and harvest the meat and use the products of the animal, but that's not who I am. So I like to just plunk around and do that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. The case that I got, my 15 minutes of internet infamy for was certainly a surprise to me. It was like somebody found the pleading and leaked it, and it kind of caught people's imagination and surprise, and then it just snowballed. And
yeah, it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It was. It was their motion, right? That's what first caught the attention, was the motion talking about the inflammatory emails.
Yeah, so they filed an ex-parte motion like the day before Thanksgiving to have me kicked off the case. They said I was threatening them and were scared for their safety, which was total bullshit.
To be fair, you did say you were going to waterboard them at the deposition, which they obviously took literally. Like you were going to strap
hyperbole.
I actually would take that literally. Like, he should have. But Chris, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, in your background, when you first got into the whole insurance side of things, here's a question. Did you ever have a situation where the types of guys that you worked for wound up being on the opposite side as the plaintiff, right? Like, so let's say I'm a big wig at the insurance firm.
Yeah.
Something happens to me now, right? Now I'm the guy saying, hey, I want to get paid out for, you see what I'm saying? Did you ever see that when you were there?
Yeah. No, I never came across that. I never came across that circumstance where somebody,
because they're trying to lowball, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, the insurance company's trying to lowball the payouts. So wouldn't that be an interesting kind of thing to say? I'm the guy, Nick, who's trying to lowball people, but then I get hurt in something.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to go back to the job, frankly, if you really suffered a serious injury or lost a loved one and had to deal with it, deal with the process, and then go back to being that person. It's pretty hard because you really kind of have to dehumanize the other side in a way that is really not good. So yeah, it's an interesting question. I never came across that specifically, but you do have people that get fed up with it and jump ship and go to the other side because it's tough work, and especially for younger associates, they just grind you out. They want you to build 2,000 hours or more a year, and that's kind of they just burn through associates. You work for 5 years, 6 years, they bill as much as they can from you, and then they cut you loose. So that's kind of the model. But for me, I look at it as a positive. I learned, they threw me into a lot of heavy cases. I got a lot of experience going to depots, going to court hearings and whatnot, which you don't get at all firms. Like a lot of the big white shoe firms, if you go in as an associate, you're just basically doing document review for the first 5 years. You're getting paid a lot more, but you don't get as good of experience.
That sounds like the idea of doing the document grinding for years on end sounds terrible. I had a relative who was, basically in that position, and they hated it. It's like I thought I'd be doing legal work rather than just writing all day.
Well, Chris, I was curious, how do people cope with, because everyone has, at some point works a job they don't want to or like or whatever, but in that situation, and I'm assuming it's probably very mind numbing, right, Nick? Just be document after that's got to be taxing on you, right?
One document is mind numbing.
So Chris, how did those people, yourself and guys and gals that you saw, how did they cope with? Because you said that was a grind, right? Like 5 years is a long time to grind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It is for sure a grind. Some people deal with it in healthy ways. They get into like CrossFit or cycling or something, and have a positive outlet for the stress that it creates. Other people, they drink a lot, they use drugs, they have other problems. There's a lot of issues with mental health in the legal profession. A lot of people, they focus their stress into activities that are self-destructive, and it can be a big problem. But I personally, I tried to, I went to the gym, I was into swimming, I tried to get outside and have that kind of meditative release where you were working your body and working up a sweat and kind of focusing your mind that way. And that's a great release for that type of stress. But a lot of people don't have that and get burnt out, and there's a high turnover rate. A lot of people just go into a different field altogether because being an attorney is pretty stressful, as Nick can probably attest to.
I don't know how I dealt with it.
as he takes a drink. Hey, Chris, I'm curious. Are there like outreach programs to help these attorneys with like the mental health stuff?
Yeah, it's called Lawyers Helping Lawyers. It's the best named program on the planet.
Oh, is it? with a drink?
No, it's
that's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
Oh, really? Oh,
Lawyers Helping Lawyers, and it's like they connect lawyers with resources for mental health care and stuff like that.
Yeah,
lots of addiction stuff.
Because I've heard that. It's interesting to hear you and Chris talk about it. Like, because what ends up happening, and you know this, Chris, from people from the outside, all they care about is looking at someone's job title, and they assume a status and a dollar amount on that job title, right? Because people think every lawyer is rich, Nick.
Yeah,
and that's not true.
Not
They're
true
like,
at all.
Oh, you're a lawyer. Well, you're rich. You don't have any problems. But it's like, man, these jobs are tough. Just like in sports, Nick, we've talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Guys with all kinds of injuries, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and people are just like, well, he's a rich athlete, so he should just shut up and play. It's like these guys are going through some real shit, like and lawyers too, right? I mean, but in all professions.
Yeah, and it's not the same as being an athlete in terms of what you're putting on the line, but a lot of people take out a tremendous amount of debt now to become an attorney. $200,000-$300,000 of loans on top of undergraduate, loans potentially. I know people that graduated with over $200,000 in student loan debt, and that's just like a chain. It's it's a shackle in a lot of ways, and then people feel like they can't get into anything else because they need to be making a high salary to service that debt. So it can be tough. It can be tough for sure. And there are programs, and the stigma is kind of changing a little bit. But for so long, attorneys didn't want to acknowledge that there was a lot of mental health problems and stress that weighed down on the profession because, well, there's just a stigma generally in society against that, and particularly attorneys. They're expected to always be strong, always be able to perform under pressure, and nobody wants to have their attorney have a nervous breakdown during a motion or a trial. But there are more programs now to help people. It's becoming more talked about, and I think that's important. Just like a lot of other industries have had to kind of have a self-examination, and I think it's a good trend that's occurring.
So, kind of as a natural segue question, I guess, from that is, can you talk a little bit about, as much as you're comfortable with, of course, any of this stuff? One thing I express to any of my guests who have any sort of litigation that's either pending or recently finished or whatever is, please don't answer a question that would be in any way compromising. But can you talk a little bit about kind of where you got to during the email situation, because I'll give you like my perspective of it was, this isn't even that bad. Like this is, these insults they're funny. I was dying laughing reading them. I'm sorry. but I was like, I think the other side was making a big deal out of it because they saw a perceived advantage. I didn't really get the idea that you were like breaking down and that this is some egregious thing, but I don't know if that's the same perspective that you had. So I was hoping you could kind of comment on that just a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I do want to say, you know, I'm not proud of the insults and stuff that came out. That's not a way that an attorney should act, and not a way you should treat your adversary. I was having some issues myself last year, personal issues with the loss of a child, actually.
Oh,
and my first daughter, she passed away at 14 months. It was really, really hard. She had a heart condition. So I was dealing with a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety and stress, and it kind of came out when the other side, they kind of just stopped responding to me altogether, and I started to kind of pepper them and with insults to get a response, to try to get them like a dialogue going, and it wasn't the right choice. It wasn't the right tactic, and it's kind of below the dignity of the profession. So I'm not proud of it, and I don't recommend that people do that. I got sanctioned. I had to pay like $17,000 to the other side. But at the time, I was kind of riding high. I was part of a team that we settled this huge motorcycle injury case for 8 figures, and I that was the month before, and I took that depo, and I felt like I kind of had struck gold. Like I thought, this is a bad faith case against a deep pocket defendant. They've been hit with punitive damages before. The measure of punitive damages, for people that don't know, it's a highly variable thing, and basically it's to try to deter a person or a company from engaging in that type of conduct again. And some of the factors that the court looks at is whether the company has done that type of thing before, and the financial resources that the company has, so that they can hit them with something that's meaningful, but that's not going to put them out of business. So
and for an insurance company, that's near infinity. Like, it's about as close as it gets.
Right. Exactly. Especially an insurance company like Allstate that makes billions of dollars in profit, that's been hit with punitive damage awards in the past for bad faith. So I kind of got gold fever, really. My eyes turned into dollar signs, and they start spinning around, in my head. And I thought, I'm going to just bring this home and get my clients a massive settlement in this case. So I got a little too emboldened, and I was having my own issues that I was not dealing with in a healthy way, and it came out in in insults and stuff that that are not the appropriate way to act for an attorney, and they use them. I never thought I would see those in an ex parte motion, because typically settlement communications are confidential.
Right.
You can't bring them in, and they're subject to what's called the litigation privilege in California, which is basically like you can't suffer penalties for speech that's used in litigation. It's a really broad protection. And I'd never seen something like that used in state court, where I primarily litigate. But we were in federal court, and they brought it before the judge, and he just, he wasn't having it. He threw the book at me.
You know what annoyed me about the judge, and you don't have to comment on him specifically, because I know you still practice in that area, and there's every possibility you could sit in front of him again. And, and what I'm going to say isn't too spicy, but what annoyed me was in the hearing, we played the audio from the hearing on the show, And it sounded more like the judge was annoyed that you wrote down what you said rather than the content of what you said. He's like, well, I'm former military, we've said way worse, but you wrote it down. And I was like, but that should tell you, like, if there's worse, because again, I thought the insults were a little just kind of funny, and I could see, this guy had a bad day, or this guy, has kind of got the dollar signs or whatever it is, or maybe they're presented to us completely devoid of context at first. At least it's like maybe the other party was just complete dicks. And I've had to dress down an insurance company. Like, I screamed at an adjuster for 20 minutes on the phone. And then the next day I had a check for my client. But it's sometimes, it takes a little bit of spice or to get the wheels going, and
I mean, if calling another attorney a piece of shit in LA is sanctionable conduct, then
every attorney's getting
the bar
sanctioned.
would be writing checks every week because it's But he called me out. He's like, I've said this, I've said worse than this, but I wasn't stupid enough to put it in writing, and he's the federal judge, I'm not. It's like you have your own little fiefdom at that point. You have an appointment for life, and your word goes. So I got called out on it, but I tried to make those arguments as confidential litigation privilege. Look what they've engaged in. Look at the substance of the case. But at that point, it kind of snowballed, and I think, and kind of got some publicity. He said he was getting calls for, like, he said at the hearing, like, my friend called me from Chicago and was like, what the hell's wrong with you attorneys in LA?
Yeah, right. A Chicago, some Chicago litigators out there like, how dare these attorneys in LA be so uncouth?
Hey, Chris, I got a question for you. How often is that?
I'm sure there's never hardball language in Chicago, right?
Never heard of it.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you asking, Drex?
What's up, Drexel?
Chris, I was going to ask you, how often is it that attorneys do get sanctioned and get hit with, having to, pay this restitution and all that?
Man, it doesn't happen very. In my practice, like, I ask for sanctions against the other side, not too infrequently, like a few times a year for discovery motions and things, and judges are usually pretty reluctant to grant sanctions, and if they do, it's a pretty modest amount. So
what's
it's
like the average amount that guys normally get hit with?
$500, like $500, $1,000 is a pretty typical sanction for. It's kind of a slap on the wrist for discovery misconduct or something like that, or missing, not showing up to a hearing. But in this case, they they asked for like $6,000 on their ex parte hearing, and then the judge just kind of ignored that. He's like, send me another, send the cost bill in, and then they said that it cost them $40,000 to file this.
That was
ex parte. It was such bullshit. Just so ridiculous. Yeah. And then so he went through it, and he didn't think 6,000 was enough, so he invited them to to try again.
Wow.
And they said it cost them they asked for like $41,000 in sanctions or something. And then he was like, well, this is bullshit. You can't have
I think you shoot your shot, but they shot for the stars.
They
and
shot
it was
big.
Like, what are you
they were
doing?
shooting for the moon. But then he cut it down, to 17, which I was like, oh, should I appeal this? And I talked to people, and they're like, you know what, man, it's not worth it. You're gonna spend more in an appeal. And at the end of the day, the things that they said that I called them were so ugly that the appellate court's just gonna be like, you know what, you deserve this. So anyway, I got hit with the sanctions, and I had to pay it. But you win some, you lose some, and you got to try to learn from it and move on, pick yourself up, and And that's what I've done. You know, like my practice took a bit of a hit, especially with COVID. I don't know what your experience was, Nick, but the first half of 2020 was really slow for me, but things have finally started to pick up. Like actually in the last month, I've been getting a lot of calls and new cases and stuff, so that's good. But yeah, this year has just been freaking terrible on all fronts, if you ask me.
Yeah, my practice is largely on hold in general because I just do this show.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's way more fun. I have right now. I have a couple clients that have just some holdover things that I do. It doesn't take too long. I actually have one big felony case because I do criminal defense work. I'm in a small town, so I kind of bounce around. But
nice.
And I have a family issue that I hate doing family law, but for this one, it's worth it. And but so for me, it's just been the show, which it's actually kind of been nice because a lot of people are at home. But
that's great.
But yeah, no, I mean watching other people and just thinking about it and talking with some attorneys that I know, just less people are going out, so less people are out to get injured. Like that alone puts a big damper on personal injury stuff coming in.
Yeah.
And then the courts putting everything on hold. My felony case, which is it's 50 counts, and it was charged back. Yeah. It was charged back in January.
Into R. Kelly, or who are you defending?
No, it's an embezzlement case, and Minnesota charges them out as individual thefts with every single thing. So they've got basically every alleged withdrawal over the course of however long. Each one of those is a separate count, which I think is a mess, but that's how they do it. So, but that was charged in January, and we just got pretrial scheduled to next January. So like the courts are a disaster. Everyth's slow.
Oh yeah. Here trials haven't even resumed. It's terrible.
How does that work if you had a case that was due, right?
Yeah.
And you're, whether you're the plaintiff, defendant, how does that work with COVID thing? How far are dates getting pushed back? You know what I mean?
I mean, for us, we had a date in April, and then they just said the April date is canceled and will be rescheduled in the future. And
so not even an actual set date.
No, they just, like I said, so September 25th, I think I got the notice that they scheduled pre-trial out, and that's probably going to get pushed back too, because we have some required hearings that didn't occur. Those are the ones that got canceled. Mm-hmm. And so we'll have to schedule those, and it may end up pushing pre-trial out. But, the way courts, at least around here, handled it, and Chris, you can talk about what they did in California, but they just said that the deadlines didn't matter. It's like, nope, deadlines don't really matter. We're just pushing everything out.
Damn.
Is that kind of how it went for you guys?
They did an initial continuance of 30 days, I think, that applied to deadlines. But then they were still trying. They moved things to remote hearings, and the court started to open up in June and July. And I actually had a motion for summary judgment hearing in July that I hadn't opposed because I thought it had been continued or is going to be continued again. And the judge actually had granted it. She said, "Oh, you blew your opposition date." And I went in there. I was like, "What? According to the court's order, this has been these things have been continued out." And she eventually, didn't stick with that ruling. But they were trying to hold us to deadlines, but things got pushed out 4 or 5 months, and then trials haven't even really begun yet. Here, and I'm getting things set out into the middle of next year or even into 2022 because we have such impacted court systems. And it's really bad for civil cases because they call it now the COVID discount for defense attorneys because
right.
On the defense side, one of the tactics is you just delay and people die or people give up or people run out of money or attorneys move on. And if you can delay cases as long as you can, you're kind of kicking the can down the road. So when trials aren't even being set, it really impacts case values out here, and it's really tough. And when you go to mediations, they talk about a COVID discount, and they're getting it. The insurance companies are getting it, which sucks. It's really a really shitty situation. But it's really the worst for criminal defendants, because you have a constitutional right to a speedy trial, and that's enshrined in case law and the Constitution. And there's certain deadlines that are considered kind of sacrosanct in a criminal matter, and those are being pushed out too, just kind of like on government fiat, which is really problematic. It's because those are like, you know, constitutional rights. And people are being held in you know, jail and pending trial because they can't post bail, and they're still, you know, no hope of getting their matter sent to trial because juries can't be impaneled right now. So it's a big problem. You know, I think like everybody else, we're just praying that, you know, some of these vaccines work and that this pandemic dies down, because it's been really bad on the legal system here. Really
Does
bad.
that affect time served? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're being postponed like that as a defendant,
Yeah.
like you said, let's say you're awaiting trial,
Yeah.
like does this count as time served as you're waiting?
Yeah, it is. But what if you get found innocent? Like what if
Right.
you're not convicted? You know,
then you petition the court to add your time served as credit for the next crime.
Right.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, right.
Can I bank this?
Right.
They're not cutting you a check for those days you spent in county, and it's not fun. So
are you?
it's really a problem.
Are you familiar at all with Lucas Gerhard, the kid? He's up in Michigan. He posted a Snapchat photo of his AR-15 and said, "I'm going to take this up north and watch the snowflakes melt." And by snowflakes, I mean snow. And then he brought the gun to his college, where this is an allowed thing, and he checked it in at the college armory, and then they arrested him.
For what?
They called it a terroristic threat.
Oh.
Because a snowflake also refers to kind of a liberal or
I guess
like
that's the idea.
College student or something.
But in reviewing Michigan case law, and it's similar to Minnesota, and they typically don't allow idioms. And the worst part about his case, which they haven't even gotten to yet, is that the person who reported the crime wasn't a recipient of the Snapchat, and wasn't an expected recipient of the Snapchat either. Like someone just happened to show this person, so they took a picture of it, reported to the police as a threat, and this kid gets tagged. He got arrested last, August, and he was held 83 days without trial or bail, and then they released him to house arrest, and he's been on home confinement with an ankle bracelet and everything ever since. So for over a year now. And they can't get anything out of him. And it's another one of those COVID things, because his trial was supposed to be something like April or May of this year, and he's just stuck. And it's the worst thing seeing this, because he shouldn't even be charged.
No, I mean, that doesn't sound like a threat to me. I mean, there's certain things, like it has to be imminent, and it has to be like, you know, there's certain elements that have to be checked, and that doesn't sound like an imminent threat to me. But just kind of like a part of the zeitgeist of our culture now, with, you know, clamping down on that type of speech. And it's interesting. I mean, obviously, like, you know, mass shootings are a terrible, terrible thing, and there's a huge incentive, and rightly so, to try to prevent anything like that from happening. But we do have broad, you know, free speech rights in this country, and those are just being eroded away slowly by all these little decisions and statutes and things that get passed. It's a tough thing to measure. But
yeah, it's messy. Yeah. COVID's making everything messier.
It is.
And I can't wait for it to be done, man. Like I was supposed to go to, several different trips. Wisconsin, which is not that big of a deal. I was supposed to go to Texas. I was supposed to go to LA. I was supposed to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to Florida more than once. And all of that stuff got just shut down.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
What line of work are you in, Drexel?
I'm in the travel biz, so I'm always traveling.
Oh, okay.
So
that must be rough right now.
Well, say it again.
That must be rough right now to be in that industry. I mean, that's
one of the things that's crazy is I was talking to a buddy of mine who used to work for Boeing before they had the layoffs, and he talked about just how much this affects like every chain, right? Because if something affects, okay, so if planes are affected, then the people who get on the planes are affected. The hotels where these people get off on, Nick, are affected. The car rentals, the restaurants, like, so it becomes a whole string, a chain of people who are affected. And then once everyone turtles up at home, you know how that is, Chris. If everyone's at home, it sounds good at first, right? Like, oh, this is great for grocery stores, but it's bad for everyone else. Like, grocery stores were cleaning up, right? Like, I mean, look, movie theaters, Nick, done.
Furniture stores are killing it right now.
Yeah.
It's
Furniture
ridiculous.
Stores, boat dealerships, RV dealerships, like things that are kind of like that, like that people can use domestically are blowing up, but everything else is just crashing. I mean, I mean, you think about how many people rely on the travel industry, like through LAX, there's all these little sub-industries like the fuel trucks and the people that provide the meals that go into the planes and all of the concessionaires. I mean, so many people have gotten hit. It's terrible. And I just don't understand how our country got hit so much harder than like China, for example, which seems to like kind of be already going back to their normal routine, and other places in Asia, like Vietnam barely had anything, and Taiwan, same with Taiwan and Japan. It's kind of strange. I just don't understand it.
Not to mention North Korea, which I heard how North Korea fixed their COVID problem. I heard they actually, anyone who was coming into the country with COVID, they just said, actually, we're going to have Chris Hook depose you. And then those people were never heard from again.
Never.
Yeah, right. They just disappeared. No, they wouldn't want to sit for a depo with me. Trust me.
Can we? So we have a live sort of interaction feature on the show where people can submit some questions. So do you mind if I send a couple of those your way, and then we'll ask the questions, and then we can talk. I'd like to know a little bit more about Allstate v. Baker, because I think it's there's probably a lot of relatable elements to people who've ever dealt with, like, because it was a house loss basically. Yeah, and
massive water loss in a big luxurious house. Yeah.
And I want to talk about this because I have a water loss that's not as massive going on in my house right now. And I hate every second of it because COVID has pushed everything back.
Yeah.
Like they just told me today that they have to match up the hardwood floor. That got damaged. And they're like, oh, we're going to deliver the floorboards are coming in November 11th and 12th. Now I'm like, oh, thank God, I guess. But I don't have a kitchen until I have a floor first. And then my kitchen's going to come after that. And I don't know how long the counter's going to take. I don't even know.
Yeah, and the flooring's going to be some shitty laminate that costs, 25% of what you had. And they're going to argue.
No. We're getting a 3/8 inch white or red oak hardwood, actually. So.
Oh, good. Wow.
Did you let them know what happened?
I was coming back from Florida, and a pipe under my sink burst. That's all it was. The little valve, the shutoff valve on the cold water, just decided to develop a crack in the in one of the seams, and it just dumped water into the cabinet under the sink, and then that spilled out onto the hardwood, got underneath, and then it also poured down some of the holes where the pipes came up and down into my library below it. So it's been it's been fun, but thankfully it was our house. The people watching our house actually caught it pretty quick. But here I am, like they rejected our first flooring bid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm choosing to live in my house. I could force you guys to put me up in a hotel, me and my wife and 5 kids, which means you'd have to buy 2 hotel rooms. I could make you do that every day, and I'm not. Can't you just be a little lenient on the flooring budget? I mean, we're talking like $1,000 here.
Yeah. No, I mean,
you don't know how they said.
Do you have did you have actual value or replacement value coverage? Do you know?
I had the full replacement value coverage.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
No, before I was an attorney, actually a long time before I was an attorney, I was a licensed insurance provider for 1 year, which I worked for Wells Fargo. So I was licensed, but it was only for annuities that we actually did it. But I had to sit through and do all the training for the fire and casualty stuff. So I actually know quite a bit about structuring my homeowner's policy.
Good. Yeah. Well, you probably know more than the adjuster did in the Allstate case. So,
well, let me send just a couple of these quick questions, and then let's do the Allstate case and talk about that deposition, if that's cool with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Talon Sear says, Mr. Hook, please pay homage to Gunny R. Lee Ermey and show us your war face.
Nice.
Well done.
Is that good?
Yeah, that was great. Bad Vibe says, Chris, your negotiation emails were murder. Nick died on stream. The only thing that kept him alive was the next line in the email exchange was funnier than the last. But see, now I know you've talked about how that's not really how an attorney should act, and in a lot of ways I agree with you, but at the same time, it's that breaking of the wall fantasy where it's like, this is how we all want to act. Right. And that's what made it so great, is because it was so honest. From, if you've dealt with other attorneys, that was like the glimpse you get of going to the bar afterwards. Like, I emailed him this, but what I really wanted to say was this. It was just very refreshing.
Yeah, I just actually just said fuck it and just said it to the right to him. So
right, wise move.
No, it was great.
A lot of people feel that way about insurance companies, and that's what I think kind of captured their imagination about it. Like, yeah, I feel the same way about my insurance company or about the attorneys that represent them, because they act with just such like arrogance and disdain, and it gets frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. It's like, in brief story, in Minnesota, we have these municipal insurance cooperatives. So because it stems from like the late 1800s, when the insurance companies wouldn't come out to rural areas. So a bunch of farmers got together and just said, we'll pool money and cover each other. And then those became insurance companies. Yeah. They're still regulated by the last update we had to their statutes was, I think, 1909. Cool. So that's the same regulatory scheme. And I had a case with some clients where they had a total loss of a house, big fire, burned the whole thing to the ground. It was like 100-year-old property, so it was a tinderbox, and it goes up. And they had $140,000 of total coverage, and the insurance company came in with the offer, and they said, "We'll give you $10,000."
Totally. That's a reasonable offer.
Yeah, and so we went back and forth on it, and it was like, wait a minute. But they hid behind their actual defense was, the regulation of our company allows us to do this. And so that was the conversation I mentioned, screaming at the adjuster for like 20 minutes, because I was like, I'm going to put you in front of a jury and have you explain to them how every month they pay their premium on time every single month for $140,000 of coverage, and then their entire house burns to the ground, and you're going to give them 10 grand. I want you to tell that to the jury, and we'll see who walks out of there with a check.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, adjusters hate to be deposed. They like to talk a big game, but once you get them into deposition, they turn out to be,
Yeah, it was
not so tough.
It was great. Gotcha Son says, I'm from SLO too. Haha, that's awesome. Glad to see you, Mr. Hook. Tri-Tip and Vic's Hamburger Haven is the best.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know about Vic's, but yeah, Tri-Tip is where it's at. I like Firestone Grill in San Luis Obispo. It's my favorite. It's a bomb.
Richard Pierce says, pay up gay boys. Keck7 Go says, good morning, Mr. Hook. Which crime do you suggest I commit so I can hire you as my lawyer and you can call gay boys as gay boys? Also, who is your favorite chaos god?
Wow.
Man.
Are you familiar with Warhammer 40K at all?
No, I don't play that one. I'm a Apex Legend guy myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just say Papa Nurgle that's the best chaos god that there is.
Okay. Well, I'll let you speak for me on that one. But in terms of committing crime, I don't do criminal law. I can't, I can't advocate for the commission of a crime. It's a violation of our rules of professional conduct. But if you go out and get fucked up in an auto accident, I could help you out for sure.
Nice.
Well done. Okay. And the last one, and then we'll get into this Allstate v. Baker thing. Malik Foxton says, Rackets, I've been waiting for the stream with Mr. Hook for a long time. Drex, what's up? Hello, Mr. Hook. Thanks for agreeing to come on. I'm expecting a good one since I'm probably going to be a zombie when I get to work tomorrow morning as a result.
Ooh. Like staying up watching this shit and then trying to get up for work?
Yeah, don't
do it.
Don't. I told someone the other day, I just pretend mornings don't exist. I don't acknowledge them, and we just move on with it.
Why do you do the show so late?
Because my kids allegedly go to bed at 9 o'clock. And so that gives me a 2-hour window between them going to bed and me doing the show where I get to sit down with my wife for a few minutes and just unwind. So, like I said, I've got 5 of the little monsters running around. Wow. And so we're driving, them. We homeschool them and we drive them to all their activities all day. Yeah. So it's like, that's our time to just chill. And of course, we never get that either. But
what's this about Trump with COVID? Because I keep seeing it in the chat.
Yeah, Trump and Melania, they have COVID.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sounds
go ahead,
Chris.
They apparently do have COVID. One of the other people tested positive for COVID earlier today, and then
Hope Hicks tested positive, but I just saw that Trump and Melania were quarantining. I didn't see that they had actually tested positive.
Oh, you mean like right after that debate?
Yeah. I think. Wait, did he not test it? I don't know.
No, he just said he's quarantining or doing something.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Hope Hicks, his one of his minions, tested positive.
Right.
You know the best part is, Chris, they're all fine. Seriously though, Nick, they're all fine.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, because maybe I'm crazy, but liability, virus acquisition liability seems weird to me. We don't really do that most places, but I'm now signing liability waivers all over the earth for COVID. And I'm like, you weren't liable for me getting COVID in the first place. And the notion that you would be is ridiculous. So what's your opinion on the idea of liability for it? And then, waivers and exculpatory clauses, including COVID.
I think it's ridiculous because how would you even prove where you picked up a virus? It doesn't make any sense. One of the things with proving a negligence case is causation. It has to be the actual and foreseeable cause of the harm. So unless you're literally selling COVID burgers to people or something,
Don't ruin my
I don't know
dreams.
how you could,
Right?
how you could, or you have somebody like test positive and like they're spitting in the drinks. I don't see how you could be held liable for picking up COVID. But yeah, everybody's always worried about liability, and I don't know. I think it's silly. I don't know what the waivers are going to do. But
The funny thing
yeah,
is, all the waivers I'm seeing, again, small town, and mostly we're talking kids activities.
yeah,
None of the waivers have any consideration to them at all. Like they don't mention that you must sign this in exchange for attending the event and enjoying the, like the activities or anything like that. It just says you're waiving your liability for COVID, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll sign this all day.
Right?
This is useless for you.
yeah, totally. Yeah, but it's interesting. There's going to be kind of like a standard of care now that's associated with COVID, which is going to be like the masks and the hand sanitizer and things like that. And I'm sure there'll be cases where people will say, I went to Costco and there wasn't enough freaking Purell around, and I picked up COVID and freaking, I was on a ventilator for 5 days. But people don't understand. You can sue for anything, but that doesn't mean that you'll win.
Yeah. I think what they're hoping for is, I think it's a conspiracy by plaintiffs' attorneys to create a cottage industry of COVID settlements.
Well, all these insurance companies have virus exclusions anyway, so there's not going to be any money there. I mean, those bastards are using it to get out of all these business interruption lawsuits.
Yeah. Wait, so they're using virus exemptions because, again, like it's not Sam's Club's fault that you got the flu at Sam's Club. So they're using those types of exemptions to get out of business interruption stuff.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. Even though the reason why these businesses are getting closed and shut down is because of civil orders, which are technically covered perils. The insurance companies are saying that no, it's actually the virus that's causing the businesses to shut down, not civil authority. And as a result, that's a covered exclusion under your policy, and you're shit out of luck. I don't care that you've been paying premiums for 2 decades and that your restaurant's about to go out of business. Like, fuck you, basically.
Yeah, you're making me want to send some emails.
And it's been going their way in court. They've been winning on that because they put in so many damn exclusions in their policies. That basically it's like the exclusions swallow the coverage in a way, and
right.
Interestingly in England and in Europe, the decisions have been going the other way, and there was some recent decisions in England where they said, no, you need to cover these business losses and stand behind your policies. But that has not been the trend, unfortunately, and it's causing mass closures of businesses, particularly in states where we've had really strict shutdowns, like here in California.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Allstate v. Baker. Do you want me to pull up the? I can put the deposition transcript up on the screen for the audience if you're okay with that. If you're not okay, sure. I don't want to do that, but.
No, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it was filed in court. It's part of the public record. And that was one of the things that also frustrated me. It was like, this judge can grant summary judgment sua sponte if he wants. Like, he's seen the transcripts, but they were focused on, the gay boy comment instead.
Right?
Let's get our priorities straight.
Like,
it can't be said without it being funny. It's just not possible. I know we all want it to not be funny, but it is. I can't help it. Okay, let me hold on, I'm pulling this thing up. I gotta close all these other PDFs. Oh my goodness. I'm buying stock in PDFs right now because of all of them that I have open.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me get this pulled up on stream, and then we will.
What was it? Oh, you're actually the deposition?
Yeah.
Maybe go to the part about the do you know what the definition of a lie is? I thought that was pretty interesting.
Oh, that was great. That was around.
It was like page 23, I think it started.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Oh, and I'm curious. Okay, I'm pulling it up right now, so the stream can see it right now. We're on the page 23. I'm curious if you can walk me through what, because I feel like you got triggered into that question. But maybe you didn't. But so you asked, were you handling insurance coverage at pyrotechnic restoration? Objection, vague. And then you said, were you a claims adjuster and insurance adjuster there? Says, no, I was not a claims adjuster at PCM. And then the next thing you say is you understand you're under oath.
Yeah.
What brought you from him saying no to were you a claims adjuster to that question, or was that just the next question you had chambered anyway?
Normally you do kind of those admonitions at the beginning of the deposition, but sometimes I think they have more gravitas if you wait a little bit.
Okay.
And so I think I had just reached a point where I was going to start to get to like more substantive questions. So I wanted to get that down on the record first. And I don't remember exactly. I also could have, like, the attorney was making all kinds of frivolous objections that defense attorneys use to coach the witness.
Right.
And I think he was kind of doing that, and the witness was kind of responding to those with a lot of like, I don't know answers, which you're not supposed to say. If you can remember or provide an estimate to an answer, you're not supposed to say I don't remember.
Right. You the beauty of depositions is that they have to answer the question, and they have to answer it even if it's objected to.
Right.
And then you can fight about an objection, striking it from the transcript later, but usually you don't, because it's a waste of time. It's already been said.
Right.
So
what do you think of that question? You know which one I'm looking at, don't you?
Which one? The white paper and the black paper one?
No, I didn't get that far. I got to, okay.
Do you
understand what the difference is between a truth and a lie? Someone actually asked that? Is this the judge?
No, Chris.
No, that's me.
It's you.
Now, see, this is deposition. So this is given under oath. It's just like you're testifying in court, except you don't have like you don't have the live objection back and forth. Correct. As much. So you still have to give the answer. So
now, you know why I have an issue with depositions ever since the Bill Cosby thing.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, what is your take on that? Like when your lawyer tells you you're about to do, you're being summoned for your deposition, right? And it's like, hey, hold up, hey, counsel. So you ask your counselor, will this ever be used against me? Can it be used against me? No, you're good, fam. And then you get me too, right? Like, oh, we're gonna use your deposition. How does that happen?
Well, a
deposition, it's evidence. That's what the point of taking a deposition is, to preserve evidence. So you should never assume that the deposition testimony is not going to be used against you. There's always a chance for that. I think what happened in that case is they struck some sort of settlement after the deposition to keep portions confidential. And those are really hard to enforce. You also have a statute of limitations on settlement agreements. It's like another contract. And like in California, the statute is 4 years. So if they waited, 5 years and then we're like, all right, we're bringing this to the media, I mean, you could potentially get away with it. So it's like putting the genie back in the bottle, like the truth, that's one of the beauties of our adversarial system, is the truth tends to come out, and particularly under cross-examination. So, I think Cosby kind of got what he deserved at the end of the day. I mean, do you think he was innocent, or do you think he didn't do those things to those women, or what? Or you just think he got bad advice?
He got some.
Well, he got bad advice. It sounds like
he got that same bad advice that like Wesley Snipes got. Like, you don't need to pay them taxes. Yeah, you do. So Chris, here's my issue with the Bill Cosby thing.
Yeah.
it's not about if he's someone talked about Janice Dickinson. Yeah, Janice Dickinson, Nick, straight up lied.
Yeah.
My issue with the Bill Cosby thing was simple. He did talk about, the Quaaludes and everything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's the issue of the lack of this, like the issue I have with the statute of limitations. If a chick or anybody can just come out and say, like, this is what happened to Kavanaugh, right? This happened. Okay, is there a police report? No.
Yeah.
But it's just believe me. It's like you have no evidence. Like that was my biggest issue with Bill Cosby, is that anytime that a first person shows up, right, comes forward.
Yeah.
You ever notice you always get the laundry? It's like Lemmings. Remember that game Lemmings, Nick? You get the one in the front.
Yeah.
And then like 100 behind you.
I always just made them all explode anyway.
Did you?
I hated that game.
Yeah, those types of things, they reach like a critical mass, and then really quickly public opinion just kind of shifts against you, and then it's like the presumption of innocence is thrown out the window, and you're just considered guilty. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but when you have that many people accusing you and really willing to like come forward in court, I don't know. It's like where there's smoke, there's fire. It's like that guy Sandusky, that perv in where was he, Notre Dame or something? Jerry Sandusky.
Oh yeah,
Penn State.
Yeah, I mean there was no hard evidence really that he was diddling the boys or the students or whatever, but enough came forward where there was a critical mass, I guess, and he got convicted. But to this day, I think his wife thinks he was innocent, So I don't know. And same with Cosby. Like, I think his wife has stood by him this whole time and said, like, this is bullshit. So
look, the best thing that came out of Cosby was we now know what a hot Cosby is. And that's and you should avoid them at all costs. Never accept a hot Cosby. Okay, so you start off here, and this is great. You said, do you understand the difference between a truth and a lie? And he says yes. Then you ask what? And the objection is argumentative, which is weird because I don't think you asking what his perception of it is argumentative.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was just objecting for the hell of it.
So that you then go into, well, do you want to like role play it out? Do you want to pick a guy?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you want to be you, or do you want to be the other guy?
Okay. How do I turn on the screen so I can see what you're previewing? What do I go, whiteboard?
You'd have to go to the YouTube stream. I could send you a link, or
I have the YouTube stream going.
Okay, but it should be on the side over kind of where the chat is right now.
Oh, okay.
The document's there, but it's like 20 seconds behind. So if you
okay. I'll just pull it up. I'll pull up the transcript.
Just pull it up. We're on page 23. So do you want to play as you, or do you want to play as the deponent?
Let me be the deponent. I want to sit in his chair for a little bit.
Okay, so I'll be Chris Hook for just a few minutes. Walking in the sandals of giants.
All right, let me pull it up here.
No worries. Just let me know when you're ready. I'll read a chat while you're doing this. Scraith says, speaking of lawyerly letters, did you see the cease and desist the Doobie Brothers sent to Bill Murray? I saw about it, but I didn't actually sit and read it. Because a bunch of lawyers tweeted it out, and I don't like lawyers very much. So, especially lawyers on Twitter.
What did Bill Murray do to draw the ire of the Doobie Brothers?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I think the Doobie Brothers, they sent him a cease and desist, but I don't remember what it was about. And it was like a real friendly back and forth that happened.
Okay.
It's
all right. I got the depo up, so I'll be the deponent, Mr. Crosco, and you're gonna be me, right, Nick?
Yes, I'll be you.
Okay, and then Drexel will be Mr. Feldman.
I'll be Mr. Feldman.
Can you can see it? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just have to lean forward.
All right. So, okay. Do you understand what the difference is between a truth and a lie?
Yes.
What is it?
Argumentative.
I'm not trying to be argumentative. I just want your definition. That's all.
Well, someone could say that that's a white paper, and someone could say it's a black paper. There's a difference.
Which would be the lie?
Well, if it's a white paper, it's the truth. If it's a black paper, it's a lie.
Right. So stating a fact is telling the truth, and misstating a fact is telling a lie. Would you agree with me? That's you.
Wait. Oh, no, I jumped down on one. I was looking at Mr. Hook again. All right. Argumentative. Misstates the law.
Would you agree with me if you misstate a fact, it's telling a lie?
Argumentative.
If I said that paper's black, I'd be misstating a fact, and that would be a lie, correct?
Not if you were blind.
Sir, don't make speaking objections.
It's argumentative.
Just keep it to the point, okay? Don't interrupt my deposition.
Okay. It's argumentative. Oh, you were scrolling.
Sorry.
It misstates the law to suggest the way you phrased it. It's vague and ambiguous.
If I misstate a fact that the paper is black, that would be telling a lie, correct?
Argumentative misstates the law.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
No.
If I said, I'm going to take it out and hand it to you, this is a cover for a binder here. Just take that piece of paper and hold it up to the camera. And that paper, it's a white paper, right? We agree with each other it's a white paper, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if I said that was a black paper, that would be a lie, right?
Argumentative misstates the law.
It depends.
It depends. What would it depend on?
It depends if this is white. This is truth, then.
Right. So if I said, Alan, to my client over there, if I said, Alan, Edward's holding up a black paper right now. Is that, am I telling Alan the truth or a lie?
Argumentative. False dichotomy.
I don't understand what you're trying to say. I'm sorry.
I'm asking you a simple question. And I'm asking you this. Do you see my client over there, Alan Baker? Do you see him to the right?
Yes.
Okay, you met with him before.
Yes.
Okay, he's one of Allstate's insured, right? He had a policy, that's why we're here today, correct?
Correct.
And, hello, Alan, do you see me? Yes. Sorry, we didn't pick Mr. Baker.
Yeah, we didn't pick Mr. Baker.
Okay, there's a black paper in front of Edward Carrasco. Was that statement a truthful statement, or was it a lie?
Argumentative. Assumes a false distinction.
It's just,
How do you assume a false distinction?
Right?
Like, that's a weird one.
it's just you're basing a fact that this is white. This is white.
This guy said it was white. Like that, he decided this early on. Sorry, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Right. So if I told Alan that it's a black paper, that would be a lie, correct?
Argumentative. Assumes a false distinction.
Stating a fact that this is white, and if he says it's black, he's stating a fact that it's not black. It's white.
Right. So if I state it's black, that's a lie, correct?
Argumentative.
It isn't a lie.
Asked and answered.
Excuse me?
It's not a lie.
It's not a lie. Okay, let the record reflect that the document in front of Mr. Carrasco is a black page, not a white page, right? Is that an accurate record?
It's a white page.
Okay, so what I said was a lie, right?
Argumentative. Assumes that there's only a truth and there's only a lie. It's false distinction.
There's only... So you're saying that paper's black is a truthful statement?
No, it's not a truthful statement, counsel, but it's
not necessarily... Oh, sorry.
No, it's not a truth or a lie. Did you intentionally say it was black? Did you say it was black because you have a distinction? You can't distinguish color.
Right.
Because you're colorblind. Did you do it because you don't have sight?
Okay. Let's clarify. If I intentionally tell my client over there, Alan Baker, don't look, Alan, Mr. Carrasco has a piece of paper in front of him that says Alan Baker is stupid. Is that a truthful statement or is that a lie?
I'm not saying Mr. Baker
I know you're not.
Listen to the question.
I'm not saying you are.
Okay.
Okay. The paper does not say that. I'm telling Alan that it does. So is that a truthful statement or is that a lie?
I don't understand your question. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm glad this is being videotaped because if you can't, just state for the record what's the truth and what's the lie, that's not going to look good in front of a jury, and this is going to be played in front of a jury. Do you understand that?
Yes.
That's why we're here today. Okay. So I'm here for you to give truthful testimony, not false testimony. You should be aware of the admonitions that the same penalties of perjury attach as if you were testifying in a court of law. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right. I think we got the truth versus lie section. That was is of course.
Can you even believe that? I mean, so I was just holding it was just a blank white piece of paper in front of, that I had pulled out.
How do you know it was white, sir?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm colorblind. But that was just, and that's how it went. I mean, and this is a guy that is supposed to be adjusting like complex claims and able to understand insurance policies that are, by their very nature, complex, contracts involving the transfer of risk. So
my favorite part was that he established that it was white and saying that it was black would be wrong. Like that was his hypothetical.
Right. Yeah. It blew my mind. And then it just went downhill from there, and it was just, and that's why after those depots, at first I was saying, okay, I might have to continue this depot. You didn't bring all the documents that I wanted to ask you about today. And they were saying, no, absolutely not. We'll stay till 7 o'clock. We're not, we're going to sit for the deposition. You have 7 hours with this witness, get it done. By 2 or 3 o'clock, they were like, oh, Mr. Carrasco doesn't feel well. We need to go, we need to adjourn this deposition and come back another day. He and his supervisor did that. and then so I was like, let's settle this case. And then the week later they filed their motion, saying I was trying to waterboard their witnesses or whatever. So
you probably should have. It probably would have gone faster.
Right.
I know, right?
So was there anything else in this particular deposition that really stood out to you other than they obviously saw, I mean, if they're saying, no, we're going to stay, we got 7 hours, and then they're trying to end it, 4 or 5 hours early, they can see the writing on the wall. Was there anything else going on, any specific sections that really stood out to you as, we've got these guys? Or was it just kind of the overall feeling of incompetence where you're if I put these guys in front of a jury, we're going to toast them?
Well, there's a couple things. He admitted, he didn't have any training or even a handbook on insurance policies. He was just basically trained to estimate losses. That was a major red flag, Sure. And then the policy at issue was like a deluxe homeowners policy. This was a really, really nice house in a nice neighborhood, multi-million-dollar. And the homeowners had a deluxe, what they call the deluxe policy, which was for replacement value.
Right.
And that's opposed to the actual value, which is what it would cost to repair minus depreciation. Right. And the insurance companies use that to pay you, pennies on the dollar of what it's going to cost to repair your house.
Yeah. If your house over 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 50 to 70% is what they're going to pay you, because they're going to say, oh, the paint's old, the floor is old, but here, the clients had been paying for replacement value. So that means basically the insurance company has to pay for replacing the property like for like, like putting it back into like condition after there was this massive water loss. And he couldn't articulate the distinction between, actual value or replacement value for this policy, and why he was trying to force the insureds to settle for actual value based on this low ball bid that he had obtained. Oh. So that was like, for me, that was like, okay, this is per se bad faith insurance claims handling, because you have an adjuster that is not even, remotely competent to administer a claims adjustment, because he doesn't understand the policy that the insureds purchased. So if the insurance company's own representative doesn't understand what the policy is and is misrepresenting it, that's bad faith in California, and it exposes the insurance company to massive, potential punitive damages.
Sure.
But they hire really expensive lawyers, and they will do whatever they can to fight it tooth and nail.
It's funny because, like, you have to imagine, well, based on the idea that an ex parte motion costs $40,000 by their billing, you have to imagine that paying the attorneys probably costs close to as much as paying the claim would have cost.
Right.
But for them, it's worth it. They don't want to have the bad publicity or, the record of being hit with some sort of judgment or bad, punitive damage award, because those are cumulative. Those become cumulative over time for the company, and serve as a basis for awarding even higher, punitive damage awards in the future. So
you throwing back some Johnny Black there? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, indeed. Costco special.
Nice.
Oh.
That's a reliable, it's a reliable whiskey. I like it.
It's good. Nice blended scotch, goes down easy.
Yeah. I'm drinking this Old Forester Prohibition style.
Look at you.
Is what I got.
Oh, what is that? Like a bourbon or a rye whiskey?
Bourbon. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know the story behind it, but it's pretty good. I got it at an event. A little higher octane. It's like 57.5%.
Nice.
But yeah. So well, trying to think here. I got talking about whiskey. It broke my brain a little bit.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, no,
you're unbelievable.
You should try some. No, I'm kidding. Obviously.
You know what? I was not kidding. Is that this room is so hot.
It is so hot. It's like 200 degrees in here.
Dude, I'm literally feel like I'm melting right now.
I mentioned my library took some water damage, so they had to redo the sheetrock today, and that's right outside this office, which is we're actually in a gun safe, a walk-in gun safe. So right outside the office is a library. And they did the sheetrocking, so they had these 3 industrial fans blowing in this room that's probably like 80 square feet.
Maybe
it's just a small little area, and the door was closed, so these fans are generating so much heat, and that has just transferred into here.
Yep.
And it's brutal, man.
Oh my god!
You have the fan on you too. Quit your complaining.
Oh my god! I'm wearing black, and there's a sun somewhere.
So you guys are in the same. You guys are in the same space. Drexel's over at your house right now.
Yeah. He's
That's cool.
He's just in the next chair over there. But
it's so hot.
But it's hot. So I guess we can close out the Allstate v. Baker case, and were there any final thoughts you kind of had on it? I mean, I know you've talked about this before. You went on like Adam Carolla's show, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I went on Adam and Mark Garagos' show, which was really cool. And actually, I'm now working with Mark on some cases, which has been an awesome, opportunity for me. So it opened some door. It's like close some doors for me, but open some windows that God threw me out fucking head first. So
I mean, for
I'm
what
rolling with it.
For what it's worth, everyone I talk to about you, both attorneys and non-attorneys, I haven't heard anything negative at all. It's always
I wish I could say the same thing, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Where do you where are you hearing the negative stuff? Like what sort, is that coming from, like Twitter? Is it coming from chatter around the water cooler? What is it?
I found out from my my attorney that I had to hire to deal with some of the issues relating to this case. She's down in San Diego, and she was like, I just went to an MCLE where they presented your case as like an example of like what not to do, and like
you should go teach that. You should teach the CLE.
It was presented to like a whole room full of attorneys of basically like a professional responsibility case, and I think they was just like talking shit about me the whole time. But I don't know. It's been, I got definitely some kickback from it, rightly so. But other people have been happy about it. I got some letters and calls and stuff. People were like, go get those bastards. So it kind of depends on, like what side you fall down on.
I think the side is simple. If you're a pretentious attorney, which I'm being redundant, but you've got like a 50% chance of saying, oh, it's very unprofessional, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretending like you don't actually think of the opposing party or opposing counsel mainly. It's not really the party all the time, although you're talking insurance companies, so it kind of is. But just general, when you're in the, this is the thing I like about being attorneys. When you're in the pits with opposing counsel, you can hate their guts. And then the moment the case is done, it's resolved. It's like, oh, this guy's fine. But
right. Or when you're like trying to resolve it, it's and in LA in particular, like it's crazy. I practiced in San Diego for the first 5 years, and it's kind of like a very congenial legal community down there. Like when you go to a hearing, the judge invites you back into the chambers, and you sit and you talk about the case. And generally, the attorneys are really civil towards one another. But in LA, it's a much bigger swimming pool, and people are fucking cutthroat, man. Like I've been to depositions that have almost come to blows. Like attorneys are just not everybody, but there's a lot of attorneys that are just like nasty. They just don't give a shit. It's all about winning, and so you kind of have to rise to the occasion sometimes, but it's tough to stay civil all the time. And
I mean, I think for the everyman though, right? The person without a law degree, they see this and they go, that's what, like, even if they don't go, I want Chris Hook, I want Chris Hook to do my claim. They go, that's what I want my attorney to be willing to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like because that's where real people are, because you get on a phone call with someone who's in customer service, or you've ever dealt with an airline, heaven forbid, and all you want to do is strangle the life out of the idiot on the other end of the phone. And so you wanted to, like, I saw such a positive response on this show when we talked about it, because it was like, this is exactly what we want our representative to be willing to do, is to go out and call these people the scumbags that they're being, and then, get the case fixed, like get my stuff done. And most people don't get that.
Yeah, and I really take pride in that. Like, I go to fucking war for my clients, man. Like, I'll do anything for my clients. I don't take on tons of cases, but when I take on a case, and whether it's a $10,000 case or a $10 million case, I put the same zealousy into it and the same loyalty to my client. I try to shoulder that burden for them, and I'll do whatever it takes, to try to get a good result. And this case, I took it a little too far, it blew up in my face a little bit, but I've learned from that. And I'm all about just representing my clients, and I go to freaking the ends of the earth for them. I really do, because it is at the end of the day, it's an honor and a privilege to practice law. It puts you in a special place, and it's not something to be taken lightly. Clients trust you with their lives. In a lot of cases, they're putting things on the line. So it's something I do take really serious.
Yeah, that's actually, we were talking earlier about like kind of the stress and stuff that lawyers get. That's one of the things that was always for me is, this person is trusting me with for this phase of their life, this is going to be one of the biggest things they have to deal with.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a petty crime, like most people don't, like I'm talking beyond a speeding ticket, but a misdemeanor, a gross misdemeanor, or a low grade felony, like those are real things that people have to deal with. And it's pretty like, and it's in your hands. That's a stressful thing. Or custody stuff. Like, again, I hate family law, but sometimes you got to deal with it. And dealing with custody stuff is like, these are people's kids. That's where I see the biggest amount of stress coming from for me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. People get confused that like people don't understand the court system. It's counterintuitive. It's this huge institution that operates on all these anachronistic, rules, and it's really confusing and overwhelming for people, and to be able to help them is really a privilege. And that was one of the things that frustrated me about like doing insurance defense work is like, you could do an amazing job, prepare like an awesome motion for summary judgment or get a great settlement. And then at the end of the day, like, you report it back and the adjuster's like, all right, great. Like, I wish you could have settled it for a little less, and it's just, it's just kind of thankless because you're just trying to save the insurance company a few bucks, but when you're on the other side, like, I have clients that call me that are really thankful for what I've done for them, that you forge lifelong relationships with them because you've become such an important part of their lives. And that's just really, really meaningful for sure.
Yeah. And for a period of time, like you're talking to them almost, daily. And then you do build that relationship up, and it's kind of weird when it ends.
It is.
All right. Well,
I saw something, Nick.
Yeah. What's that?
I don't know if you saw this, you too, Chris, but earlier I got a message, no, not that. What is this?
What are you talking about?
Auto evolution. No, I don't want that. They always ask you so. Pelosi and the Dems approved some $2.2 trillion stimulus. Did you see that?
Oh, we got a stimulus package coming.
Yeah, I saw something about that. I don't think it's been finalized yet. I think that they're still wrangling over the details a little bit.
I think it might have gotten approved though. I'm going to Google it.
Well, it might be the House approved it, but it's got to go through the Senate.
Correct. Yeah. House approved a $2.2 trillion stimulus.
Man, hit me with some more Trump bucks, please.
No, Chris. I am very strongly against what's going on, because printing money is going to end up putting us in the same shoes as Venezuela. You know what I'm saying? You can't just print money, Nick. You can't just print money.
I agree, but if they're gonna print money, I want my cut. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I get it. Here's the problem.
I don't want them to ever print money, but if they're gonna print it, please address my house on the envelope.
Give me free money. Yeah. There's no problem with me getting it, but it's like, I mean, Chris, think about that. Printing money to solve problems creates significantly more problems. When someone says, "Hey, Chris, how much is that drink that you got in your hand?" Well, if we print enough money, someone asks you a year later, "Hey, Chris, how much is that drink in your hand?" Nick, hyperinflation is real.
I'm gonna turn your.
I know we haven't seen it in this country yet. So I mean, I think it's better than the alternative of just like a complete lack of liquidity amongst businesses and people. So I mean, that's part of having a fiat currency where the value is just set by politicians, is you can print money, and as long as you maintain your credit rating and you have like a GDP to back it up, I mean, it kind of works. So I don't love it either, but I think this is like a national emergency. It's like World War II or the Civil War. It's like you kind of got to do what you got to do to get through it. But what bothers me is the hypocrisy of conservatives and Republicans saying that they're kind of like the fiscally responsible ones, and our debt just like goes out of control all the time. So I don't understand where it's going to go. But I mean, I hear you what you're saying, but we can't go back to like the gold standard. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I hope we don't experience hyperinflation. Like you see those things in Venezuela where people are like pushing around a freaking shopping cart full of currency and it's worthless.
For real. Well, hey, Chris, you know what's wild, man? I saw this, and it was the craziest shit I ever saw. So their currency is worthless, right? In Venezuela.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
It's so worthless, it's worth more as something else. So did you see that they were making purses out of it? Did you see that? you see that, Chris? I know you saw it.
Yeah, I saw that at a world market today, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look it up, Bolivar, that's their currency.
The Bolivar.
Yeah.
So if you look up, I'm sure if I Google Bolivar purse, like Bolivar, they're just baskets and stuff.
Yeah,
it's worthless when if you make literally anything out of it. It suddenly has more value than the value of the Bolivar itself.
Yeah, no, I love that, and then they'll just announce like, okay, we're chopping like 3 decimal places off the currency, like we're chopping 3 zeros off. So now 3 million is actually 3,000, or just they do these arbitrary. It's freaking nuts, man. I feel really bad for the people down there, dude, because it's terrible mismanagement.
Oh, I got an image right here, Nick.
Oh, what's this?
Bolivar purses. And so
you looked up Bolivar purses?
I did.
Were you shopping while we were talking here?
Yeah, right? And honestly, they're really nice. Here's a little thing. Christian Science Monitor. As inflation devastates Venezuela, artists make purses and other things. So if I look like this.
Oh, wow.
So as you look at some of these purses, Nick, and you see them making look, wallets and all that, so
hold your money with money.
Yeah,
you think that's where we're gonna end up, Drexel?
Now I've told Nick the collapse is coming because now here's my thing, Nick. Depending on what happens in November, right? Here's the thing: Trump is only delaying the inevitable, Nick. We're already past the point of no return. So my thing is this.
I've heard that techno song.
Right? Well, look at it like this, though, right? So, Chris, our fertility rate in the shitter, right? Marriage rate in the shitter. As the economy collapses with your brick and mortar stores, Nick, those are fading away, right?
They are.
That retail space needs to become something.
No, it doesn't. Get rid of it. Put homeless people in it. I don't care.
Stop. You better stop. So gentrification is coming. As people start to move away from cities, because here's what COVID also did, right? I got people out in the Northern Cali area, right? Like San Francisco, near Silicon Valley kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Cupertino, Lafayette.
I'm sweating bullets. Sorry, go ahead. Thanks.
That little ass
he just
fan.
turned the little fan on me. Oh
Chris,
my God.
it's the smallest fan literally in fucking history, bro. This is literally, it's like the size of like a silver dollar.
Look, I got it from the insurance company.
Venezuela fan or something.
Just
this is
cook it in here.
It's just a little USB desk fan.
Right?
But
well, Chris, here's the problem that I see though. is that when I say that the inevitable is coming, I want you to think about this for a second. Social Security is done, Nick. They were borrowing on money. Social Security works as a Ponzi scheme, right? You need new suckers. Only except in this Ponzi scheme, Chris, the suckers are the new workers, right? But now what you have is we're in a situation where, Nick, they want open borders to import people.
Yeah.
So the problem then, Chris, is that with these people who they import are going to be the people who don't really want to work. They're going to now try to go on assistance. So what you're starting to see, Nick, is the complete implosion. It doesn't explode, it implodes, because someone was like this. So, Chris, you're familiar with what's going on in Japan, right? Their economic crisis that's looming.
Yeah.
As people aren't being born. So you have a top-heavy population, right? All these old people.
Yeah, but it's way quieter.
It is. You went there and got some good sushi.
Less diapers, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And so Chris, think about this for a second. Here we are in America, and you're having an aging population, Nick. People aren't making babies.
Well, we fixed that with COVID, though.
What?
We got rid of old people.
Oh, yeah, the boomer excluder?
Yeah.
Or
that was a joke.
Boomer remover?
That was a joke.
But here's my problem, though, Nick. These people who are sitting here pushing for these socialist policies, right? Like, just print money, Chris. Just do this, Chris. Okay, let me get this straight. This is the everyone gets a trophy era, right? When someone says, hey, Chris, you know how you solve problems? Print more money. Print money.
Yeah.
The only thing that happens is hyperinflation, Nick.
Yeah.
You can go negative interest rate.
But I agree with you, but I also think that in this case, unique to now and unique to us, is that what we have is in large part, a government-caused crisis. I mean, I know we have COVID, but the government shut down the economy. State governments all over the place shut it down. City governments in LA started. LA and New York, I think, kicked it off, and then states followed. And so while I generally agree that we can't print money, and there's certainly a limit. At some point, there's a limit. But at the same time, like, I look at this and I go, okay, if the government's gonna shut down economies and it's gonna shut down workers, they've got to do something.
Citizens should have denied it from day one.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
And it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, now, Nick, here's the thing, though. So here's the thing. Actually, I think Chris is more qualified to talk about this topic than anyone, which is, Chris, you are fully aware of the looming housing crisis, right? Real estate crisis.
Yeah.
With these evictions, right?
Right.
Know, because like I said, I go to California. I used to go much more often than I do now, but like, I see what's coming, and you're starting to see an exodus out of especially the metropolitan cities in California, right? You're starting to see that.
Yeah.
You see it in New York also, but like, so Chris, imagine this: the rent now. Like I know a professor up in NorCal, right? She's up in in the Mission district of San Francisco. Her place, and she said it was a steal, right? She goes, oh, I got this place. This is a steal. This would have been 3 years ago. This winter, right? 3 years ago this winter. This was 2017. A steal was $2,000. Was $2,000? It was $2,000, like $2,400 in the Mission, right? Mission district.
Yeah.
So for a 1-bedroom, right? Well, Chris, once Google and all these tech companies said, hey, no, you're good. Go home. Guess what happens when you work remotely, Nick? Wait a minute. Why the hell am I in San Francisco? Why am I in Silicon Valley? If you're
dumplings,
right?
I will move to San Francisco for dumplings tomorrow.
Right?
I wish I had dumplings out here.
It ain't that good.
Give me some dumplings.
Oh my
gosh. Have you ever had a Minnesota dumpling, Chris?
Oh God, no! I've never even been to Minnesota, but
neither has.
If you guys come here,
else.
I'll take you to Din Tai Fung. Is the bomb dumplings, man. Taiwanese dumplings, oh, so good. Din Tai Fung, check it out.
I have this as an official invite. I come to your neck of the woods and we go eat dumplings together.
Yeah, I'll take you to the best dumpling place you've ever been to. Either one of you, open invite.
Well, you and I ate the racist plate.
The racist plate. Oh, so have you ever been to a Cracker Barrel?
I don't think so. I'm kind of familiar with it though. It's like it's like our Denny's. It's like a kind of a 24-hour, like a diner breakfast place kind of, right?
Yeah, what kind? It's
They're a few steps up from Denny's, but
there's
okay. Excuse me.
They don't
sorry.
And they don't do 24-hour. It's country cooking. But we used to order the Caucasia plate, which was like chicken in dumplings, not Chinese dumplings, but American dumplings, which are literally just flour.
Right, just a ball of like flour that's like yeah.
And it's covered in a white gravy, and then you order another order of dumplings and then mashed potatoes and cream gravy. It's great. It's just like
carbs.
Right. Oh man.
It's all carbs and it's murder on your body. But
right.
I wish I could eat like that still.
I know.
Yeah. No, but Drexel, to speak to your point, we do have an issue with housing, especially in California. But we also, and we have kind of a lower birth rate. But we're still, a beacon in a lot of ways, our country. And I don't agree with you necessarily that people just come here and rely on handouts. Like in Southern California, we have a huge Latino population, and they're hard workers, man. They work hard. They come here, they work at landscaping and car washes and construction. They're kind of like the backbone of our economy, and things are still so bad in Latin America with corruption and violence that we have, a kind of a constant pressure of immigrants that are still seeking to come to United States. Fortunately, like it's one of the, I think it's a blessing that we have, and bringing new blood into this country and serving it as a new basis for Social Security and things like that. Because you're right, it is a Ponzi scheme. You need to have a continually growing base of younger workers to support, older people for those entitlements. But we still have a lot of immigrants coming to this country, and they've always kind of been the backbone of this country. And I hope it stays that way. I think it's important.
But Chris, I just don't see any of this as sustainable, right? The cost of housing is unsustainable. The low birth rates, the low marriage rate, the low fertility, like none of this is sustainable in the long term. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So printing money is not so there's nothing that you can say that you can look at right now and say, even automation was a big issue even before all this, right? But none of this is sustainable long term, Nick. Like,
I wish I could automate me.
I wish you could. You'd be a better friend.
Well, they're experimenting with that, like universal income, like just giving people kind of a base income, because as our economy automates and becomes more robotic, there's a lot of jobs that are eliminated, and the idea of everybody having to work for a living or for a salary might be kind of outdated. It might not be a sustainable thing. So it's interesting. I think we're gonna see a lot of changes in our lifetime, and I hope you're wrong, but you may be right, and that's why I have a gun safe downstairs in my garage. Shit goes south,
I think the issue of UBI in the context of automation is a really interesting question, and I'm relatively conservative or libertarian, whatever you want to say, and I think that's one of kind of the. I'm going to say this wrong because it's the internet and that's what you do, but I think it's a failure of the right to not seriously entertain the question of what solution UBI is trying to achieve. Because you're right. At some point, Tesla and BMW are going to have automated trucking. Like that's going to happen. And they're going to come out with, I don't know when it's going to be, 20, 30 years from now, but they're going to come out with some studies and it's going to show over a long period of time that the automated trucks are less accident prone than drivers because they don't get tired and they're more efficient and all of this stuff.
Sure.
And at that point, you're going to be hard pressed to see a company like Amazon employ a fleet of people who are exposing them to liability when they could employ a fleet of trucks that have testability to mitigate the damages that they would say. Like, well, when was this truck serviced? So as long as they keep up on their servicing and maintenance and their software updates, they're going to be able to limit their liability exposure. That for a person, you can't software update someone who's driving 17 hours. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
So at some point, that's going to happen. The fast food industry at some point is going to go automated.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're seeing that now, though.
Yeah, I went to a Wendy's and they yelled at me for trying to use the automated thing.
Really?
And I screamed at the person. I'm like, "You're just trying to protect your job, you low rent." No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. No, they're like, they had the things on, and I went up and I started ordering. And like, "You shouldn't be touching that because of COVID."
Oh, come on.
I was like, "Why do you have them turned on now?"
Right?
Like, just turn them off.
Do you know what's wild about automation in fast food? I think here's what's going to be the big change. The biggest change we're going to see is the quality of food will go up. So Chris, think about this for a second.
Yeah, we're gonna have robots cooking the food.
No.
A Michelin star McDonald's by my house or what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So think about it like this though. Okay, so right now, McDonald's. Let's use McDonald's as like a paradigm, right? Your McDonald's, you pay X amount of employees to, whether you pay the, health benefits, depending on, if they're part-time, full-time, right? But you pay X amount of employees to cook the fries, make the food, serve the customers, right?
Yeah.
And thus, because of the cost of labor, the cost of your product then you have to cut corners, right? So you're getting lower quality burgers, blah, 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 right? So now think about this. McDonald's is now automated in 20 years, right? 10 years. Now you just have a manager, maybe a couple of technicians, right? Just in case, something goes down, something breaks down.
Yeah.
But now
and those techs will be high paid.
They will be high paid.
Because they'll be taking 4 jobs, but only one set of benefits. And that's what people don't realize. Like,
you're absolutely right.
A McDonald's compensation package that pays you $32,000 a year or $30,000 a year is actually costs like $75,000-$80,000 a year when you get into the healthcare and all of that stuff. And so what the tech is going to do is they're going to go, okay, we can take a $70,000 total compensation package. We can take 4 of those. So we've got $280,000 to work with. We pay one tech and we pay him $100,000 a year. And then his compensation package is an extra $60,000. And we're paying $160,000 a year for a McDonald's employee rather than $280,000 for 4 of them.
And this is the thing though. That's why I say the quality of the food will go up. Because now think about this, Chris. If you are paying that one tech to replace 4 to 5 jobs, right?
Yeah.
And you say, okay, now I'm going to take the family to eat McDonald's. But if it's the same sorry ass McDonald's, you'll be like, right? But now what if someone says this, Nick, here you're getting now, because our labor costs have gone down, the quality of that burger for the Big Mac has gone up, let's say 5-fold, right? And now you're getting higher quality beef.
If they do that,
higher quality product.
If they do the full robotic McDonald's, I'm opening a McDonald's competitor called John Connors. And we'll employ only people.
Oh my God. You went there.
We will fight the machines.
You went with the John Connor.
That would be the highest profit food chain in the world. You could charge like $12 a burger.
Of course.
Keep your motor oil off my machine,
right?
Scumbag. Or off my burger.
No, I think it's going to be good. I mean, I think the universal basic income, at the end of the day, I think it's important. I think inequality is a major, major problem in this country, and poverty drives so much of the issues in this country with crime and poor health, and it's just not fair. It's not right. And in this day and age where we have the technology to do it, and people that have hundreds of billions of dollars, I think it's just wrong. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. And so much of that is born just by happenstance and who you were where you were born, who your parents were, what their education was. So many people get a short end of the stick, and yeah, it's possible to go from rags to riches in this country, but really that's the exception, you know. And I think having a base level where people have a, you know, some sort of income to keep them housed, keep them fed, and keep them healthy would do a lot to bring up, you know, everybody in this country. So, you know, it's kind of a pie in the sky idea. Who knows if it'll happen in our lifetime, but you know, I think
I look at it like being someone who's a libertarian. A lot of libertarian ideas get kind of misunderstood as well. Yeah, I think heroin should be legal. Let's legalize it tomorrow. It's like, well, hold on. I think heroin should be legal eventually. I'm not sure the country is ready for heroin to be legal tomorrow. And so I think UBI is something, again, I think that's one of the failures of the right is we look at UBI and we go, well, we can't just start giving everybody $1,200 a month tomorrow. Because that would make some messes in the economy and you've got weird issues with it. But what we're failing to do is consider, you know, 20 and 30 years down the road, like, do we need to figure out, even if it's not a UBI, how do we solve these same issues? Because the issues are coming, whether or not the solution is the right one. That's always the political argument, right? But I'm not entirely convinced that the right is prepared to have the long-term discussion on the solution based on the same issues that people who, I can't say the left entirely, but people who at least are talking about UBI and stuff like that are. And I know a couple people who are otherwise highly, you know, I would say even like right-wing, close to extremists who are talking about UBI because they work with industries that are highly robotic and they see their own jobs going away.
Nick,
right.
Here's what they don't acknowledge.
Yeah.
There's a few things that people won't acknowledge with UBI. They don't acknowledge, first and foremost, human nature, right? And here's how human nature works. Here, we're going to have a base minimum, right? Base minimum, there's going to be the argument that it's going to make X amount of people lazy, right? But you know what it's also going to do? It's going to create the same sin, which is envy. It doesn't matter where someone's at, Nick. Someone's always going to look at someone who's making more and say, what? Well, I deserve more.
But see, this is what I'm saying, because I'm not convinced on UBI.
I know
but
I'm not.
But I see the problems that UBI is attempting to address, and I don't see solutions for those problems coming down the pipe. And I think it's largely because on the right, people are saying, well, the market will fix it.
It won't.
See, now you're saying the market won't fix it. No. So what will?
The only thing that can fix our problems, and this is my true belief, A, personal accountability, right?
Yeah.
B, is a flat tax. I've always believed in a flat tax. And one of the things that spurs corruption, Nick, and is unfair taxation.
Sure.
So the reason why the middle class gets squeezed more and more.
I believe we should only tax church donations.
Well, the middle class, so as it's called, gets squeezed top and bottom, right?
Yep.
So here's how this works. Left pushes for social welfare. Right pushes for corporate welfare. Neither one of these sides pay taxes. The richest of the rich do not pay taxes. That's a common misconception.
I'm so trying to get there. I'm like, I want those, like, I want the headline tax bill.
That's right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not mad at the richest of the rich, because when they look at it, they go like this. Man, you're going to take how much? Fuck that. Well, guess what? And Chris, you know this is true. The people at the bottom say what? But I only got so little. Paying taxes? Fuck that. Both sides start doing shady shit. So one side, so if you're on the bottom, here's what you do, Nick. When you're broker than shit and you're living in poverty, you come up with ways to beat the system. Whether it be claiming other people's kids on your income tax, whether it be cheating EBT, and I get EBT and then sell it for cash
Yeah.
To get something. You see what I'm saying? So you create one form of corruption, right? Thus more inflation. On the other side, the right-leaning side, corporate welfare, what do you get? When you tell somebody, like I said, the Wolf of Wall Street, I think, addressed this issue perfectly, where you have a situation where Jordan Belfort only became corrupt once he realized, wait a minute, the federal government's going to take half my fucking money? Because remember, he was making high dollar, right? The top 1%.
I've never seen the movie.
I know, because you're lame. You're
Great
killing
movie.
me.
Great movie.
So great movie, right? Right, Chris?
No, I
Great
assume
movie.
this is a Wendy's employee.
Of course. Well, Chris, you remember that scene when Jordan realizes that because the federal government is going to take half his shit, he starts going offshore, right? That's what prompts him to go offshore, become corrupt. It leads him down a path of corruption. I've seen people who are broke go down a path of corruption, Nick, and particular massage, physical therapy people that we may know who went the path of corruption, right?
Yeah.
We know people who went corrupt.
Look, those credit cards were just waiting to be applied
Waiting
for.
to be applied for.
What are you talking about?
And so Chris, I've seen white collar criminals, I've seen blue collar criminals, right? And what prompts them is the same thing. But if someone says, here's the deal, you have a flat tax, everyone pays their share, right? If everyone pays their share, Nick, nobody can say, remember, you can never get equity. That's impossible. Everyone keeps talking about inequality. You know what, bro? Look, nothing's ever going to be equal. Someone's going to be taller than this person. Someone's going to be smarter than that person.
No, that's true. But you shouldn't
prettier.
have people with a net worth of $100 billion in this country and people with a net worth of negative fucking $10,000. It doesn't make sense. Jeff Bezos succeeded in part because of his own ingenuity and hard work, and also because he benefits from this country's interstate highways, which have been fucking invested in for 60, 70 years, which were a function of the development after World War II and the stable economy that has been built in this country and a lot of other things. And we have just this massive inequality in this country that's really problematic. And I'm kind of on the right end of the spectrum too. Like,
problematic.
Sorry, I keep laughing. A guy in the chat said Drex skipped head day. Because the way the camera is, like, your shoulders fill up the whole frame and your head looks so little.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, you guys are here having this serious discussion. I'm like, he skipped head day, and I'm just laughing.
Oh my goodness. Well, so Chris, I see where you're coming from, but here's the thing. I believe so strongly in meritocracy. It's why.
No, I do too. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
Affirmative.
But I don't know if you guys have this problem in Minnesota, but we have literally people living under fucking freeway overpasses here, like in tent cities.
If they try that here, they die in the winter.
Sitting on the side of the street. Like we live, it looks like freaking Caracas, Venezuela, like in parts of LA. I shit you not. Like the disparities between the hopelessly poor and people with $100 million house in Beverly Hills is, I think it's offensive in some ways. And it's damaging to everybody. Like when you see people, the amount of trash and litter and needles and all of that, that's a function of poverty and despair and drug use. I don't know, man. I don't know how you fix it, but like, I don't think laissez-faire economics and just letting people rise to their position in life based on their skill and background is working anymore in this country.
Now, Chris,
so,
I hate to break this to you, but I got to put you on the spot, bro.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. What you just described, I believe should be an actual constitutional law, Nick, which is the, let's call it the virtue signal law. Anything that you virtue signal for, you must be held feet to the fire, right? So this happened to George Clooney, where he was like, the inequality and blah, blah, blah. And he moved some refugees into his home. How do you think that turned out? You have to take a guess.
I don't know, good. You're telling me the story, so I'm guessing it went well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it went the opposite of that. That's how it went. So when Chris is saying, but we got to help, listen, we don't have to help shit. Chris, I want you to help. I want you to get those people who shoot needles in their fucking arm. And the reason why I say this is this. What easier way to have this equality than to lift people up who aren't about shit, never were about shit, never want to be about shit, right? Because what ends up happening is this. Sports taught me a lot about meritocracy and a lot about fairness, right? So in sports, it doesn't matter what bias you have, Nick. None of that stuff matters, right? You only have one goal. That's to win, right? Because if you don't win, you lose your job, right?
Don't get the cheerleaders to do your homework.
Yeah, there are people who did that. Cheerleaders, you know you're getting C- work. The head game is strong, though. But this is what ends up happening, Chris. You have people who say things like, oh, well, Drexel, we need all this equality and this and that. Listen, fuck equality. We are animals at the end of the day, Nick. I don't want equality. I want the world to be brutal. I want survival of the fittest because as a species, Nick, do you know we've only advanced? We have not evolved as a species. There's been no actual evolution in human species.
Maybe you haven't.
It's been advancement.
I got arms all over the place under this shirt.
Oh, shit.
I can multitask like a monster when no one's looking.
But my thing with Chris's point is this. Chris, here's the thing.
Yeah.
When you have this situation where people say, these are the people we need to uplift. Now, I am the furthest thing from one of these religious kind of people, Nick. But from what I've been told, what I've seen is that every religious book talks about people earning their own keep, right? I've been around people who truly don't want to do shit, Nick. They have
Stop talking about your brother that way.
He is useless. But here's what ends up happening. And Chris, you know this to be true. There are people out there. It doesn't I'll give you an example. I'll give you a sports analogy, right? And this is true, Nick, on an individual level. It's true on a systemic level.
Yeah.
It's true on a group level. So, Chris, Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions, Cincinnati Bengals, lots of shitty teams in the NFL, right?
Chargers, yeah.
Chargers, yeah. They are perennial.
The Vikings.
In terms of an actual record, though, Nick, the Vikings are actually decent. Like they're usually
here comes the Viking apologetics. Chris. No, don't even listen to this
I have no respect for him, right?
They're shit, man. Come on.
But Chris, I want you to really think about this, right? You guys in the chat, really think about this. The problem with people preaching inequality is that what they really want is equity. The Browns fans wish they were the Bill Belichick era Patriots. So you know what we have, Nick? We have people who go like this. The system's unfair. The system's unfair. They have Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a 6th round draft pick, bro. If your scouting department were better, you would have had Tom Brady. The Browns, the Lions, the bad teams in the NFL, the Raiders for years, they were getting 1st round draft pick after 1st round, which means so in our world, Chris, we would view this as I'm putting you in the best schools. I'm giving you the best books. I'm giving you the best transportation. I'm giving you the best of everything with my resources, right? How do you keep failing? Because you want to fail. Because you ain't shit. That's why.
Bill Belichick is doing Subway commercials now, so you shut your mouth.
Oh, speaking of which, did you hear Subway's bread can't be classified as bread anymore?
Only in New Zealand.
Yeah, it has so much sugar.
What were you saying, Chris?
Well, go ahead, Chris.
No, I agree with you. The cream will always rise to the top, right? And,
always.
But sometimes it can float. And I'm all for having different levels of achievement. You're right. There's always going to be people that achieve, and there's always going to be losers that don't want to do shit.
Yep.
But at least put them in a fucking mobile home or something. I don't want them living in a tent on the side of the road. We can afford to, let them shoot up in the privacy of their own freaking double wide.
Who's paying for that?
Wait, no. Remember that? You remember that mini house revolution that occurred a couple years ago?
Yeah, put them in a goddamn mini house.
No one wants those. Just put them all in the mini house.
Look,
you fit 12 crackheads in one mini house.
You could.
We pay for it, hauling them to the hospital every couple weeks when they OD. Who do you think ponies up for the bill for that? The county does. I mean, you pay for it one way or the other. So I mean, giving people a baseline where they're not living like animals, it's something that's acute, and it's particularly noticeable in LA. Like, I think you guys have a little bit different situation there in Minnesota.
I haven't even seen a homeless person in years because I live out in the sticks.
Yeah,
man.
he lives way out.
No, but I mean, things are getting really bad in LA.
They
like,
are. I want them to get worse.
Really bad. What?
I'm rooting for you guys to collapse.
He's an accelerationist.
I am. To the extreme.
He wants the collapse to occur.
Now, understand this though. So Chris, understand where my viewpoint comes from, right? The reason why you guys are in the pickle you're in California, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You see what I'm saying? Like these socialist policies, Nick, this is the only way it ends, right? So I'll give you a prime example, Chris. Here we are in Minnesota, right? The George Floyd thing, which kicked off quite a bit of protesting all around the world, right?
Yeah.
Nick, defund the police. Defund the police. Yeah, defund the police. Mayor Fry, you better say you're going to defund them police.
I am so mad that I'm not better at video stuff because I have the best idea for a video.
What's that?
It's called Dance Dance Devolution. It's like a fake ad for a fake video game.
Uh-oh.
And all it is showing like a bunch of riots, but then showing a bunch of pompous politicians like Mayor Fry doing the line dance.
Yeah.
Did you see him, Chris, did you see the mayor of Minneapolis like line dancing with Black Lives Matter?
No, I didn't see that.
It was terrible.
Like, regardless of the politics of it, because I honestly don't like care about the political aspect of it. It's just like this kind of dorky white guy, and he's got his mom jeans rolled up like halfway up his calves, and then he's doing the line dance to the. It was
so bad.
It's a popular song. They play it at all the weddings out here, and I was like, God, I just want to intersperse or transpose or whatever footage of politicians dancing while like over the riots they're burning stuff to the ground. I think that is because that was my takeaway from the Minneapolis stuff is like you're out here dancing and your city is burning to the ground. And I mean, I know you've got some people who are protesting legitimately. You've got some people who are protesting via riot and violence, and those lines get really blurry on like who it actually is at any given moment. But then you're out here dancing, and all I can think of is if my neighborhood was on fire, the last thing I want to see is my stupid mayor dancing.
Correct.
Oh my God.
But Nick, but at the same time, the flip side of that argument is that's kind of what you want to see is that you have this buffoon.
Well, that's what I want to see because I'm not in Minneapolis.
Of course, because I'm not in Minneapolis.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. We're in this situation, Chris, where it's like this. From a political standpoint, you have people out here who are virtue signaling, right? They get emotional. So their only argument is emotion, not logic and reason. So the emotional thing is cop equals bad. Defund the police. So, Chris, do you want me to tell you what happened to crime in Minneapolis after they were pushing for all this? Take a wild guess what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it went crazy. There's looting. There's all kinds of shit. That's
right. Now watch this, Chris. Here's the beauty of it. This is the reason why I'm an accelerationist, and I believe in survival of the fittest. So here's how this works. As the crime goes up, the people with resources do what? When they see their city burning and getting crazy, what do the rich people do in Minneapolis? What do they start to do?
They probably start to, circle the wagons, either move out to the suburbs or hire private security.
So Chris, as the rich leave, right? As the rich leave major metropolitan cities that are burning, right? Especially these leftist cities. As they leave, you have to do what, Nick, to taxes? To pay for all the shit that burned down. What do you need to do?
No, you're going to say raise taxes. But what you actually do is you got to collect taxes from people who left already. That's the trick. Minnesota's real good at that, by the way.
Yeah, they do try some shady shit. But my thing is this, though, Chris. As you raise taxes, the people that remain are going to have less resources than the people who left. You see what I'm saying? So now what you're going to end up with is this. Housing costs. So property value plummets, Nick. But the cost of living will still either stagnate, slightly dip, or slightly go up, right? It's not going to be like a huge shift. But what you're going to end up happening, Nick, is you're going to have people who can't pay. as these people face this oncoming crisis where eviction is coming. Because, Chris, you remember when this thing first kind of really took off, right? And there are people who go like this: I need my Trump bucks because I can't make rent because I can't go to my job, right? Do you know how far behind these people are on rent, Chris? You know how far behind they are?
Yeah. No, I know.
They can't make it up, Nick. If you deferred, you're not making that back up.
I think the rent deferment thing was a disaster.
It's a disaster. So you're going to have 40 plus million Americans who are going to when the grace period ends. Chris, what's going to happen to these people? I want you to tell me. When the grace period's over and they say rent, X amount due, right? Here's your balance sheet, Nick. And remember, a lot of these people haven't really been working. Their unemployment dried up, right? The Trump bucks dried up. OnlyFans dried up.
OnlyFans will never dry up.
Look,
Chris,
strong.
Are you familiar with OnlyFans? Go ahead.
I mean, it's going to go to shit, but that's a function of inequality in our country. That's a function of the concentration of wealth in the hands of property owners and the landed class. And you guys don't have it as acutely in Minneapolis, man, but it's like fucking Caligula's Rome out here in LA. Like,
I love it.
We have the most opulent, displays of wealth here, where people's dogs live better than humans, and then the most terrible examples of despair that you'd ever seen. And when there's that much inequality in a society, it causes disruption. And I'm no fan of defund the police. I think that's a terrible freaking idea. And in LA, we don't tolerate it. The sheriffs fucking beat their asses. Like, they go after them with the pepper guns, and it's not like Portland here or Seattle. Like, they don't put up with that shit. So I'm with you, man. I don't agree with that at all. But you're right. There's going to be a coming wave of evictions and homelessness that's right. Going to cause a major disruption to our society. And I'm worried about it. I'll be honest. I have clients that I'm helping with UDs and things. So it's a big problem, man. But I don't think like a war of the worlds type of like survival of the fittest battle royale is going to be good for anybody.
No. People just start to self-delete. So my thing is this, Chris. You have this thing where you're saying that we need to do X, Y, and Z. But my thing is, I'm telling anyone who believes these things, I'm begging you to take these people in. I won't. Okay. I'm helpful to people who want to help themselves, right? And there are people out there who are struggling, who actually are, Nick, trying as hard as they can, right? My problem is, what I've seen is that too often there's people that look at some of the choices that people make with their finances, right, Nick?
Whoa. Leave my Fabergé egg collection alone. My Fabergé eggs filled with cocaine.
Oh my God, here we go. But Chris, if you believe so much in helping, I want you to move these people into your home, because when they tear your shit up and consume your resources, you will want them gone.
I don't want them in my fucking house.
What? Be a man of your word. Practice what you preach.
Look. I pay my taxes. I don't pay $750 in federal taxes. I pay a shitload of taxes, man. I pay all my taxes, and it's
I know it's a lot more. Trust me,
it's a lot more than a lot of people.
A lot of people make.
And it is. And I pay my property tax, and I expect the government to use that money responsibly, to follow through. We have bond measures that are passed all the time here. We're going to increase the sales tax by 0.5 cent and put $2 billion into homeless housing, and they just squander the money, or they build 50 apartments. I mean,
Hey, Chris, I do got a question for you. I saw this. There was a video about what's going on in LA, right? I saw this about a year ago, and you can give us all some insight. Is it true that your government, I want to say it's actually just LA, right? LA County. They had some funding. It was something around $800 million to like $1 billion for this project, Nick.
That's a
for housing.
2-bedroom in L.A.
Right?
Sorry.
Did you heard about this, right, Chris?
Well, you're talking about the Measure H bonds that
is that what it was? It's something like some massive, like, we're helping all these people, Nick, with housing, and the money, all of it disappeared, and not one thing was built. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Can you elaborate on that, Chris?
Yeah, that was the Measure H bonds in LA, and it was like, oh, we'll increase the sales tax a half a cent, and we'll raise like $1 billion and build houses for the homeless. And it turns out they audited the program, and they had built something like, after 5 years, built like something like 50 units or some just terribly offensive
Nick,
shit. And the
average, where's the money?
Get this. The average price per unit was like something like $550,000 for like a 1-bedroom unit of permanent housing that they build for the homeless. So yeah, I mean, it's offensive, and
Chris, this isn't sustainable.
No,
Chris, UBI does not fix this. The current system doesn't fix this. Nick, it's going to happen.
OnlyFans fixes this.
Well,
I don't know why you keep discounting OnlyFans.
Homegirl in Portland made like 5 racks off of selling foot pics of squashing ants.
I was going to ask, Chris, have you ever considered opening an OnlyFans and putting your feet online?
Oh, no, I do have beautiful feet, though. So, I mean, what's the going rate on something like that?
You wouldn't even believe me if I told you. You'd think I was joking.
It's so bad out here. Chris, it's getting real in these streets, man.
Yeah.
No, like in reality, there are various people who could go on OnlyFans and sell non-nude pictures just of their feet, and people would pay $20 to $40 a month for them. You laugh, but I'm telling. See, you think I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm 100% serious, and I'm probably underselling it.
Yeah.
Have you heard? Are you a wrestling fan at all?
Just as much as anybody else, I suppose.
Thank God. Okay, so Bella Thorne is a female WWE.
Yeah, no, she's like a actress. I heard she made like $2 million on OnlyFans, right?
That's right.
Yeah, actually she did OnlyFans so well that they had to change their policy, because basically she promised like full nude spreads for $200 a month or whatever. So she makes $2 million in a week, because that's what, like 100,000 guys or whatever.
Yeah,
10,000 guys. Lawyer math, I can't even figure it out. Doesn't matter. So she does it, and then she releases a thing, and I guess she's nude technically, but like it's not showing the nudity.
It's probably artistic nudes.
It's
right?
like it's from the back or whatever.
It's like Playboy nudes, right?
Yeah. Not even.
Who wants to see that, by the way?
Who wants to pay for nude pictures in 2020? Never mind.
Nick, with all
I got nude
this
pictures
free
of
porn.
me out there, I'm guessing, that I don't even know about.
Oh, there are. Nick, I know. I see you in the showers.
Listen.
I've been watching you on the field, in the showers. So, the Simps have gotten completely out of control, right? They've become completely unhinged. But let's face facts. We're at this point, Chris, you know deep down, it doesn't get better. It's just going to fold. The student loan debt is $1.6 trillion, right? And what are people asking for? Bail us out. Everything is being asked for a bit. Nick, they're just going to print money.
I take the John Mulaney approach to college. Why do we even go to college? And until we can answer that question, stop.
I have invested exactly
$0 in my knowledge. We're gonna become a socialist country. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable. Look,
I mean, if you go to if you go to Europe, I mean, they have it kind of more set up there. It's a lot more civilized, and you don't see fucking homeless people shooting up on the side of the street. You see very little homelessness, and everybody's kind of equal. There's rich people. There's middle class, there's lower income people, but they've managed to kind of compress the economic highs and lows in a way that just doesn't allow for the type of despair that we have in this country. And do I like it? No, not necessarily. Like, I'm more of an independent person, and I don't like a lot of government control. But that's just the way things are going to go. Or we're going to have like a major civil war again, and just things are just going to go to shit. There's going to be a war, and people are going to get killed off, and things. It'll just be a major reset. Like, I think, like, maybe you kind of want. And
about that.
And I mean, that may be closer than we think, especially if this election turns out really, really screwed up and Trump tries to hold on to power. I mean, who knows,
Chris,
man?
There's one huge downside to a civil war, and it's the most obvious downside, Nick, which is whatever side wins, you lose, because now you're going to get invaded. Because after a civil war, you are at your absolute weakest. You see what I'm saying? When someone says, "Hey, Chris," after a bloody, long, protracted civil war,
yeah, the Canadians are going to come down in force, man. The Royal Mounted Canadians,
right?
We're going to burn down your White House, buddy.
Oh my goodness!
Well, hey, it's getting late, and I love that you've stuck with us this long. I've got a bunch of chats built up. Some of them, the ones I read earlier, were like specific to you that I saw. There's a bunch that maybe have something to do with you and maybe have nothing to do with you. But my policy is I read them all. So if we can start like burning through those and then wrap up the show, that'd be a great.
For sure, man.
So hot,
yeah, it's late. It's late for you guys.
Oh, here, you can take this back because I have cooled down like 10 degrees. So
have you though?
Look. You kept making me drink whiskey because people kept talking about you skipping head day, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Your subscribers are so savage. I love it, man. I love it.
So let's do this, and then Chris, if you at any time have to go, feel free to just let me know. But otherwise, I'm gonna tear through these as fast as possible.
Yeah, no worries.
Agrilith says, Drex, smash or pass Kim Klakic.
Oh, Kim Klasick. She's that black chick who's in Baltimore running.
She's who?
She's a black chick that's basically in Baltimore, of all places, but she's a Republican, a black Republican.
Okay, I know your answer then. Just want to inform you, my wife pre-ordered a PS5 for me just because she wanted to do something nice for me.
How old is his wife?
I don't know.
Is she at a senior citizens home? hey, Chris, you're familiar with the PS5 secured meme, right?
No.
If you have your phone next to you, just go on Google and type in PS5 secured meme. It's bad, bro.
Oh, no.
He secured it.
Don't do this to my sweet summer child. All right, let's see. Adrian Valderas says in Mr. Y voice, "What's with the hate towards cuties? I thought it was a good movie. Hey, Drexel, buddy, is that my Uzi? It's a nice gun, isn't it? Why are you aiming it at me? Ow, stop it. Stop filling me with your hot load. I mean lead." What? Why? Why do they send these to me?
I don't know, man. This is so bad.
Okay, Bad Vibe says, Nick, you were so far behind you thought you were first. Lay Egg says, Drexel, it was fun watching you get your butt handed to you on Q's stream. Save it for tomorrow. Save it. Tony J, thank you for joining at super lawyer level. Ace Brain 2003 says, yo, Drex, smash or pass on Miss Valdez from Q's stream on Sunday?
No comment, man.
No comment, huh?
Look, man, she's a woman of God. She's a woman of the faith.
Look, DOG Beer says, Drexel, I saw the recent Q stream. When are you going to hook up with Miss Valdez?
Oh, here it goes. I already knew it was coming.
You got her nice and frustrated. You know you can get her. Also, Nick, care to comment on Drexel's plans in the event of your demise? Man, I have already hired a security team to kill this man.
So, Chris, there's this ongoing thing about in the event of Nick's untimely demise.
You brought this up. Don't you blame the chat for this. You brought it. He's on another stream, right? And they're talking about marriage. And they're talking about stepping in the event of basically the idea of like a guy coming in and stepping in and raising kids that aren't his own, right? Like adoption and or whatever.
Yeah.
And this man out of nowhere, I'm not even there. I'm a helpless observer. And he says, well, like, look, if my good friend Nick decides to die, well, I'll have no choice but to move in and take over. And I'm like, you wait a goddamn minute here.
So Chris, the whole idea was like, what situation would I ever step in, right?
The whole idea is I'm never letting you pour a single drink for me that I don't witness from start to finish. Oh my God.
I'm just gonna slide over another can of.
You got to do the right thing, man. I mean, I feel you.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. But Chris, they went dark with it. They used to be like this. So Drex, you got to smash a trend in order to save Nick's family. Oh, come on! It's like,
Okay. Spigot84 says, my stupid New Jersey commie governor has extended the state of emergency for the China virus. May the Lord Almighty give him runs in Minecraft.
Damn.
Takagi Onsai says, fun stuff. Melania Trump's ex-friend, God, released private conversations. CNN reported it. I now love her more because she told the media to kiss off. 2, big brain panel for Halloween. I'll check with them. 3, Nick, sir, give me money. Give me my money, gay boy. Damn it. Do you think you'll ever live down that particular phrase?
No, I don't. I think it's going to stick with me. It's going to be on my tombstone, most likely.
Isn't it funny what becomes a phrase, though, Chris? Don't you find that kind of weird?
know.
Like, you say things where you heat of the moment, and it just sticks, right?
Yeah.
Like what's that Danielle chick, Nick? Cash me outside. How about that?
Yeah,
and it just stuck, right? Like
yeah.
Why?
She'll be cash me outside until she's dead.
Till she's dead. Why did that stick?
That'll be on her tombstone. Caught you outside. How about that? Literally everyone says Trump and Melania just tested positive for COVID. Yeah, that's the update I've seen, is that they actually did test positive. So not only they were quarantining earlier, but later the results came in. E1337 Neo says, hey guys, awesome reenactment of the deposition there. Only thing that would have made it better was to have the testimony theme from Ace Attorney playing in the background. And then cornered when Drex went on the offensive. Have you ever played the Ace Attorney games on like a Nintendo Game Boy?
No, I don't remember that. I thought he was talking about that Jim Carrey movie where he's an attorney.
Oh, Liar Liar?
Yeah. But I'm mixing up 2 movies. But
no, Ace Attorney is a weird like anime that they adapted into a video game, and then they made a live action movie because it's Japan.
No,
but
I gotta check that out.
It's Japanese law, which will make you hate American law less.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Bad Vibe says, Chris, your business card should say zealous representation guaranteed. Waterboarding is always an option. Nova Zero says, Venezuela is not the worst case of hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is not anywhere you're near yet. End of day, it's an indicator of your domestic economy being reshaped. Value of money is determined more by policy, not stimulus. Shinku says, cure the obesity epidemic with fat tax. Paid by the pound, Nick. Tax that whale. Now, this is a serious question. What do you think about like the in air quotes fat tax, like when we're talking about airlines and stuff like that, where people are paying for 2 seats and stuff?
I mean, if you take up 2 seats, I think you should pay for 2 seats. I don't think I think that's just common sense.
Right. That's how you got to do it. Because if in theory, if you got a bunch of big people on a plane and you can only sell 2/3 of tickets.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how it goes.
Bad Vibe says, wait, the state with the most social safety nets looks like a third world communist country. Oh, here's market reality. You can give everyone equal money. The motivated will get it all back.
Nice.
And then he says that I'm literally talking Nero. And he also says, Drex, hand up, not hand outs. Big distinction. Help those that help themselves.
Yeah, I'm all for that, Nick, because like anytime that someone wants to do something, right, and they are trying to do it, like you can see it, like you see them like grinding. They just need like a helping hand.
Yeah,
that is virtuous.
That's when you buy him an Uber to get him to that job.
Give him that job, right? Like I respect that. It's something about this idea of people just being like, give me, right? They just have their hand out, just give me stuff. It's like, you're not doing it. When you give it to them, they don't do it. Look, do you know who talked about this, Nick? Was actually my mom, right?
Yeah.
So, Chris, my mom was a director for the city, right?
Yeah.
Before she retired, and she said when she
whatever he says now, raise it up 7 octaves.
Oh yeah. Oh my mom's voice, man. It's so unique that it's almost like a parody. Like if I were to mock my mom's voice, she'd be like, "Oh, it can't really sound like that," and it does.
And then you realize you weren't doing it well enough.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so she talked about this. She said, if you were to go in the inner cities, right, these kids can tell you, they have access to the public library, right? Because, not everyone has internet reception, blah, 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 right? They have access to the public library to read Forbes articles, Google Warren Buffett investment tips and stuff, right, Nick? But do they do it? No. What are they researching? What kind of stuff are they looking up? Ratchet shit.
I hope pornography.
Well, besides porn.
Public libraries are for pornography. I learned that from the.
That's where homeless people jerk off. I mean, everybody knows that.
Look, you got to have a place.
Public bathrooms are grimy, man. I was in Vegas.
If they're not gonna put them in mini homes.
Of a public library.
Oh, say it again.
You need the peace and quiet of a public library to get the job done.
I mean, your stroke game can get strong when you're quiet. You got a bunch of books around.
Is it here?
Yeah, like just.
Sir, can you please keep it down?
That's as far as it can go. But, Chris, these people who claim to be so oppressed, so this, so that, you could give them just like the Cleveland Browns, right? Feel sorry for us, pity party. You've had like 100 first-round draft picks, and you keep fucking up.
Yeah. You keep talking about the Cleveland Browns.
Because they're terrible. Because the Cincinnati Bengals are terrible. Look.
I just think of the Bills.
At least the Bills got to 4 straight Super Bowl. At least they did something for a while until they became garbage again. But Nick,
yeah, I guess.
The bad teams in any sport, and you know this is true, Chris, until like something happens, right? Look, you're in California. You know about the Golden State Warriors, clearly, in their run of success, right?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Is
that a soccer team?
The beauty of the Golden State Warriors is this. Post Rick Barry, they were effectively useless, right?
Is that Chuck Berry's brother?
You better stop. They didn't win shit, right, Nick?
Yeah.
They didn't win nothing, right? So when someone's, now you know this, Chris, they had coach after coach after GM after GM, an owner here, an owner there. But once the right people came and they drafted the right players at the right time, did the right things, the success came, right?
Wasn't it just Steph Curry, though?
Dude, they made a lot of moves. No. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. They got Sean Livingston. Like they got all these pieces.
Only ever heard of Steph Curry.
The coach was good too, right?
Oh, say it again?
Their coach was good too.
Yeah, and Mark Jackson set them on the path, right?
Yeah.
And then similar to what happened with John Gruden and Tony Dungy, Mark Jackson got them in position. Steve Kerr helped them get over the top to win. Similar to what happened with Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy had the Bucks playing. John Gruden got over the top and got the Super Bowl. So it's like a lot of times, Nick, it's like these, because certain teams for long times, just like certain people, certain families, they aren't really trying to win. They're just saying they want to win. Like I said, don't listen to people's words. Look at their actions. If the Detroit Lions really wanted to win, they wouldn't be making the dumbass choices they make year in, year out. You see what I'm saying? Why did you overpay? Look, the Vikings, right, Nick? Why did they pay Kirk Cousins all that money? Clearly, you don't really want to win if you paid Kirk Cousins $84 million guaranteed.
Yeah, but Drexel, look. But even the shitty Browns and the Lions, they still get paid out by the NFL for their games, right? Yep. They still get a minimum amount of money. They're not shitting in a bucket under the freaking 405 freeway. There's even though they may not be winning games, there's an equality there, right? They still get provided with cash by the NFL and by other by other sources of revenue, and there's kind of a bottom line they can't sink below no matter how badly they suck. Am I wrong?
You're right.
And then at the top end, you have like a salary cap, like the Patriots
which I don't
or
believe there should be.
the good teams. Like no matter how much they're kicking ass, no matter how much the franchise is making, there is a cap on how much they can pay their players, so that they don't just continue to dominate and become like the Jeff Bezos of the league, where it's impossible to catch up to them.
No.
So
Chris,
even in these leagues that you're touting as like examples of egalitarianism, there's certain mechanisms for equalizing the playing field, like giving the shittiest teams like first round draft picks. They try to equalize the teams, right?
So Chris, let me say this though.
It's not a pure meritocracy.
No, here's what I'll say about that. There's always been the argument in certain individual sports that you get, without the guaranteed contract, but you get paid based on your performance, right? Golf, tennis, you're paid based on your performance. Like, do you win? Now, given in a team sport, it's different, Nick, because obviously you have more bodies, more moving parts. Now, to your point though, Chris, here's the funny thing. I believe there should be no salary cap in any sport. And to balance the league, I believe there should be a reverse draft. You see what I'm saying? So the best teams, so I've always said that this would work, Nick. The best teams have access to the top draft picks. And that sounds insane, but do you know how you balance the league? So watch this. If your best player, let's say, like I said, I like to use like the Tom Brady or Peyton Manning thing. Let's say Peyton Manning is still a great player, but not at his very best, right? He's getting toward the end of his career, but still he can win you a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Andrew Luck is there as the number one draft pick, right? Because let's just say that the Colts won the Super Bowl. Andrew Luck is there. Do you know what you do in a reverse draft, Nick? Peyton Manning now, you trade him, right? So you trade him to a team that is one quarterback away from being that deal, right? And now you draft Andrew Luck. Whereas right now what happens is the players who are the best players coming out of college.
Why don't you just keep Peyton Manning and draft Andrew Luck?
Well, you can't have two quarterbers because that would
most teams have two quarterbacks.
Well, because they can't play because they suck. We're talking about, remember, if you're paying a number one quarterback, right? Whoever your number two guy is not as good as that number one. So if you have Andrew Luck, like, you want to phase out Peyton because you're paying him so much, right? To get more pieces around Andrew Luck. The team that needs Peyton goes like this: we just need a quarterback. Like when the Vikings took Brett Favre, right?
Favre.
they had the pieces. So Chris, it's the reverse draft. You should reward teams for being great, because now teams are hungry to win. And yet when they do win, Nick, they get that option to either slide their players who are aging, who are still productive, and gain that new talent. You see what I'm saying?
Look, all I know is that Steph Curry is the best kicker on two skates.
You're unreal.
Nick Rekieta says, I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, an average-sized law firm in central Minnesota. It just looks small because it's cold right now. Anonymous says, if you don't get that effing brief filed, oh, damn it, I lost it. If you don't get that effing brief filed in Texas, I'm going to send you chats for you to read in a Lemoyne voice calling you a pussy. Do it. Do it. I dare you. He says, here's a taste, and don't worry, I can get meaner. Hey, Nick, I bet they'd take that brief if you got it notarized. Why don't you call Ty and see if you can do it by phone, you cuck? Damn it. Dogsplain says, hope you're still enjoying the pancake bot. We got to do that again. That's a fun thing. Dogsplained, if you could see my kitchen right now, you'd understand why we have not enjoyed the pancake bot recently.
I remember you bought that. Yeah.
We've got a pancake robot, Chris.
Yeah.
The Dogsplain sent to me. And it like, you put in a picture and it draws that in a pancake batter on a griddle. Like, you know, when you watch the YouTube videos of people doing art with pancakes?
Yeah, like Yoda or whatnot. Yeah.
It's like that, except done by a machine so that it looks not ridiculous. Because if I tried it, it would look terrible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Xander's Rant says, Nick, has Lady Racket's been informed that she doesn't need to worry in the event of your demise? Drex was your bro playing Smash Brothers the whole time on the way back from the airport. TLJ Screwjob says, Chris, if you're allowed to, how confident were you that those gay boys at Allstate were going to settle? 1 being Biden winning and 100 being Trump winning.
Wow.
So on a scale of 1 to 100, in all honesty, how confident were you that they would settle? Which they of course, they did settle.
They did settle.
Nature of which is confidential.
If they hadn't fucked it up, 100. They would have had to pay big money.
Chengiz Khan says, so the president just got tested positive for COVID. You think this will change his stance on holding rallies or make him a pro-masker? No, because he tested positive because one of his staffers tested positive. Who knows? The hard part is knowing who got it first and where he got it. Maybe he should blame Chris Wallace for it. That'd be funny. Who cares if it's true, if it's funny?
Yeah, right.
Malik says, so at midnight, Trump went into quarantine 4 hours ago, tested positive around midnight. So he's got the coof. Corona Chan wanted to pay the president a visit. I feel he's going to be fine, though. He's going to have the best doctors take care of him. Really tremendous doctors, perfect doctors. We got the most beautiful doctors. Crusader Saracen says, did you see that the mayor of Portland demanded to remove federal deputization of local police, and the U.S. attorney for Oregon basically said, lol, no, and stuck a T-pose. Absolute power move. Yeah. And what did you think about that? Because that's, you mentioned in California, Chris, that, or in L.A., the sheriff's office is playing no games with rioters, right? Like, they're going out. You got pepper spray and batons. I've seen them do hilarious, like, medieval tactics of busting lines with, like, a phalanx of shields. Or I actually saw a bunch of bike cops break up a line, and that made me so happy. I'm like, the cavalry has arrived.
Yeah.
What do you think about what was going on in Portland and, like, federal intervention? Because it's kind of a hairy subject.
Yeah, no, I think it's a joke what's going on in Portland. The mayor and the prosecutor are totally derelict in their duties to maintain law and order. Like, I'm all for protest, but that's not a protest. What's going on there? It's just like a nightly riot that they're allowing to occur, and it just emasculates the law enforcement because the DA is just a total, like, left wing freaking nut job who refuses to prosecute when they arrest these people. So it's just like a vicious cycle. It's a really bad situation. I really feel for the people there. Portland's an amazing city. I love visiting it. But like you said, you get what you vote for, and
right.
Chickens are kind of coming home to roost up there. But it's a really sad situation. I feel for the people in that city. It's just fucking nuts.
Get out. Get out.
I don't want them. I don't need them. Don't get out. Stay there.
Move to Seattle.
You're right. So, Chris, I tell these people, stay there with your policies, right? It's the same thing I have of these feminazis, right?
But what if they don't have those policies?
In what regard?
Like say they're in the political minority, right?
You would move out. You wouldn't be in Portland. You would still be in Oregon, right? Oregon
I don't know what you do.
So Oregon is not all super leftist. No different than like.
Most of it's rural. Most of it's probably very conservative.
Yeah. Like you have to understand, like the landscape of the political landscape, Nick. Seattle is very similar, where the super hardcore like leftists, like that whole like Antifa vibe, is literally like Seattle and like a couple of suburbs sort of near it. You got Olympia to a degree. What is that? They have some great Native American names for the cities out there. I'm trying to think of some of those names I've been around. It eludes me because I've driven all around that place. Mm-hmm. And same with Portland.
Fake news. Okay, sorry.
They have these places out there. It's like when you go to Portland, right? Like you know about this, Chris. You're in like Gresham, places like that. Like as you start, the further away you get from Portland, like just the main city of Portland. As you start getting away from it, Nick, the people start becoming more and more like moderate. Yeah. And if you start going rural, they become more right-leaning. It's these major cities.
The only time I've been up there, I went to Spokane, and it was with definitely less than liberal people I was visiting. It was hilarious.
I bet.
Silky Johnson says, hey, gents, I'm curious what Drex does for a living. If he doesn't want to share, I understand. I'll just stick to my original thought that he flies across the country smashing thoughts and somehow money just shows up in his bank account. Always a pleasure to watch.
You know that actually is basically what it is.
Yep, that's pretty much what is true.
Like,
Genghis Khan says, so if I say in court that Ron Toya is an abusive wife beater cuck, am I telling the truth or a lie? Objection, argumentative. Come on, Ron. Kermit the Frog. Pardon me, Mr. Hook. If you're not aware, sometimes people make me do impressions.
All right.
When you finally find a girl to do the tube steak boogie, please be neat. Wrap your meat with a condom made by Oogie. When your wiener starts to drip, it isn't very pretty, so get yourself a wiener bag at Oogie's Condom City. Condom City. What? What even happened?
Why do you keep doing that stupid voice?
They told me to.
God.
Did you guys see that story about there was a factory in Vietnam that got busted because they were recycling used condoms?
I did see that. Yeah. It was. Hey, did you see the number though? You saw the number, right, Chris? It was like 300 to 400,000 condoms.
Yeah, like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, bro.
But,
look, are they bleaching them out?
How do you get the condom? Second, how is that lucrative? Like
you don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know. You want to solve the homelessness problem.
It's a sticky job,
right?
bro.
It's a trade-in credit system. Enter the name here. Bohemian says 2 prostitutes are standing on a corner. One says, tonight is going to be a good night. I can smell the dick in the air. The other says, sorry, I just burped. Come on.
Wow.
That's a good one.
Malik Foxen says, make it an opt-in to pay for that stuff so people can choose to prop up those that can't or won't help themselves. They know nobody would put money in the pot unless someone forced them to, though, which is why they like these policies. When the bleeding hearts that want to pay for that can do it on their own, and we can choose not to, which is ideal. People who want these policies and things that demand the rich to help the poor are asking people with means to carry out their idealism for nothing in return equals BS. I mean, I kind of agree as a pure freedom person. I think part of the problem is that the religious have abdicated their responsibility to the poor by giving it to the state. And so when they entered into that sort of agreement years and years ago, the state took it and ran with it, and the religious people decided not to, like they're trying to in some ways claw it back, but it's not working out. Dungeon Master says, my problem with Hook's argument, whatever the government does to help homeless people, the middle class is going to end up paying for it. It's always easier to take $1 from 1 million people than to take 1 million from a wealthy person.
Thanks.
Yeah. Like, and that's what, I don't think that's a problem. I think that's what you were saying, right? The middle class gets pinched the hardest on these policies. And
I was always saying
they do, but
they get squeezed from both
ultimately
sides.
it's like the old saying is like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like you're going to pay for it one way or the other. You're either going to pay for it with policing or emergency health services, or you can pay for it on the front end of just like putting these derelicts in some sort of like minimum housing situation, providing them with health care. So, I mean, you pay for it one way or the other, either on the front end or the back end. So
Pyro Amos says, how do you feel about Trump announcing him and the first lady have the Rona an hour ago? I mean, they got it. I wish them well. I hope they recover, quickly. I hope they recover in time for the second debate, because I did a stream of the first debate and that was fun. And I want to do a stream of more of them. Siren Jack says, Drexel's just acting as your kinsman redeemer, Nick. It's in the Bible. Besides, you'll be dead, probably in a 55-gallon drum somewhere.
Wow.
Crusader Saracen says, notice how all of a sudden nobody's paying attention to Trump's tax returns or white supremacy debate. Quip, Trump being apparently asymptomatic will recover from corona and use that to show how resilient he is. Is this just a political play? And he says to all Portlanders, stay there and eat shit. And I'm all for a way to help those who are struggling, as long as those people get absolutely no say and vote in the political process until they get off and stay off for a year or two. Merit-based voting. How are you on that, Mr. Hook?
No, I think that's a real dangerous, slippery slope. I mean, they used to have, reading tests and things that were used to disenfranchise, black voters after the Civil War. We already have processes in place for that. Like felons, you can lose your vote you lose your right to vote for being convicted of a felony, and also for being adjudicated mentally incompetent. But no, I think there should be broad voting rights. I don't think there should be limits or litmus tests on that. I think if you're a citizen, you should be able to vote.
Really?
How are you on the idea of because for me, like, I kind of get the felon voting thing, but like I look at it and go, okay, so felon who has served time and then finished up probation or parole and is now no longer under the system. Shouldn't we restore voting rights to that person like that? Because to me, I'm like, I don't see why a felony that you have fully served out your sentence for should hamper you from voting in the future. Like, if the idea is a reform system, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. I think if you've served your time, you kind of paid your debt to society. But certain things like child molesters and things like that, like I kind of feel like
well, I think if you're on the registry, you're still under the thumb of government. So I consider that a probation or parole anyway.
But it's not. I mean, you're kind of just blackballed. You're not. You can be not necessarily on probation. I don't know. I think there's some things that you can do that you should kind of forfeit that right. But that's I don't really know enough to speak about it, to be honest with you, about what felonies
Sure.
cause a rescission of that right.
Hey, Chris, I got something for you.
Yeah.
Nick knows my position on voting rights because it cannot change. It will not change ever. And my thing is this. I believe that the only people who should be allowed to vote are net taxpayers for a reason. A broke-ass person will vote for what every time, Nick? What do broke people vote for?
Hopefully, better pizza at Chuck E. Cheese.
Close. It's close second. They're going to vote for free shit. They're going to vote for that. That's how they vote. So that's why they always say, I want free healthcare. I want free this. I want more time off for my ratchet-ass single mom self. I want free shit. Now, do you know who doesn't vote for free shit, Chris? People who have to actually pay taxes, right? So now think about this for a second. If let's say I'm being outvoted. Let's just say 2-1, right? For every one me, there are two people out there who are not net taxpayers who say, I should be given blank, right? So now I'm going this. Well, I'm losing the vote, right? Because there's more people who are losers today than there's ever been. There's more bitch-made people today than there's ever been. There's more people looking for a handout than there's ever been, Nick. And my thing is, go earn it.
How do you administer that? Like, is that based on a year? Like, what if 1 year you have a net negative income, like you're a business person but you lose money? So does that mean for that year you don't get to vote?
Well, remember, you're not voting every year, right?
So, well, I mean, there are elections every year.
There are elections every year, but when
you're
voting,
I mean that suggestion, it would just be impossible to administer. Like, it would be so difficult to verify what people made each year and whether they were.
So wouldn't you assign?
Or not?
So here's the thing, though, Chris. If it's a net taxpayer issue, right? You would assign the time of voting. I would coincide with your tax returns, right? So that day before all the COVID shit, right, Nick? April 15th.
Well, what if you just lied on your tax returns and said, "No, I'm a net taxpayer," and then you revise your tax returns later, or you get audited or whatever?
I'm not in favor. I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, some people are just. I mean, some people just get a bad draw, man. There's women out there that get their husbands are died or they're left and they have children. They don't have a source of income. Like, I don't think that they should be disenfranchised.
They should. I'm gonna give you a word of advice, Chris. The men aren't leaving these women. These women are pushing these men away.
He said whose husband.
But died. He also said when the guy leaves. Men don't leave these women.
Okay, what about your buddy Nick here? What if he kicked the bucket and
Why
his
is
wife
this always happening?
Oh man, it always goes there.
His wife was
when I gotta
left with
step
5
in, right?
kids to feed and no income. She becomes dependent on government
No. Here's
resources. You think she should be disenfranchised? What?
So here's what I would say. This is how that would happen. In the event that Nick passes, and I don't step in, the kids and his wife, Chris, would most likely go with the family. Your parents and her parents would then be that kind of almost like a cocoon, right, Nick, to help the family. You see what I'm saying? So then those parents are now net taxpayers. You see what I'm saying? So she's basically
but she's not a dependent. She's not a dependent on them legally.
But here's the thing though. She's not a dependent, but she would have no say, but those parents still would. You see what I'm saying? Because they are still net taxpayers. Listen,
I think
these single moms.
Why not just extend it then to say only landowners can vote?
That's the way it used to be. But remember though, you can be a person in the cities, right? You can live in a condo and make great money, and you're not a landowner. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you're a property owner.
You're a property owner, but you're not a landowner. You're just a renter, right?
Yeah, I think
if you're in transit a lot, because here's the thing. Here's the problem that we have.
I think you should only be able to vote if you own a Prius. Andrew War Snowboard says, why are non-binary people referred to as anything other than hexadecimal? Okay, no nerd jokes here. He says, we cannot contain him, we can only retain him. Oh, I think that's about you. We cannot contain him, we can only retain him. Alman John 1 second account, thanks for the donation. Mr. Leon says, so I'll leave this here. Minecraft is in Smash Brothers now. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I showed Nick the trailer.
Angry Tism says, always going to be good with Drexel. Fatal System Error says, been a while, overdue super chat donation. Hey, thank you. John Doe says, take your elderberry, Drex. Have fun. Eugene Ford says, ding dong, we're out of the time that bacon's smelling fine. That's a Don't Be a Menace.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since we watched that, hasn't it?
Farrakhanvict.
Yeah, Minister Farrakhan. Oh man, Minister Farrakhan.
Have you seen Don't Be a Menace, Chris?
Yeah, it's been so long, I don't remember it. It's a good one.
You got to go rewatch it sometime. Just have a smile. Hillsberg says, I don't know anyone who knows anyone who has COVID-19, and I live in California. For some people, that is. I found out that I know someone who died from it, that was news to me.
Technically, they died with it, not from it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever.
Kind of like with AIDS. Like, you don't die from AIDS, you die with AIDS.
Well, maybe you do.
I might.
No.
Easy E-cough.
No, I'm gonna write you a musical called Lease. No one important says COVID got Trump and Proud Boys with Black Lives Matter now. WTF? Yeah. Did you see that?
My mom told me about that.
Proud Boys met up with Black Lives Matter and they both denounced white supremacy. It was great.
Yeah. My mom texted me stuff.
How'd you feel about that?
So, in my mom's eyes, so Trump is bad, right? So Orange Man bad.
Yeah.
Proud Boys bad. White supremacists bad. But when you ask about Black Lives Matter.
But can your mom name 5 brands of cereal while being punched?
No.
That's that's part of the test to get to level 2 in Proud Boys.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's pretty cute.
I talked to one. I was like, why?
That's not necessary though.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, so look, you got a strong chin. You remember your jingles from childhood, right? They're great. Oh yeah, Frosted Flakes. And as you're taking these punches,
that's too many. You gotta be like Chex, Wisp. You gotta pick 1 syllable cereals.
You know what? I would go for the.
You don't
want
to get hit while you're like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No, go with the longest names to show that you're tougher. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Count Chocula.
Chris, what's your favorite type of cereal?
Oh man, I like Honey Nut Cheerios, classic. I was a big fan of Apple Jacks growing up. That was like my favorite. My parents didn't let me eat like sugary cereal, so that was like a treat at grandma's house.
Yeah.
Apple Jacks are pretty bomb. Frosted Flakes are solid. Life is actually pretty good.
I like life, but I have to sprinkle sugar on it.
Oh, really? For me, it's sweet enough, but it's pretty good.
Degenerate.
Yeah. But Honey Nut Cheerios is kind of a classic. Like that with some cold milk. I mean, kind of hits the spot.
Yeah. I'm with you, and especially on Apple Jacks. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, those are freaking delicious.
My kids keep wasting bowls of Apple Jacks, and
Really?
I'm always like, they'll eat like a couple bites, and then I'll just see a bowl of Apple Jacks sitting there, and I'm like at the point of screaming and disowning them.
Yeah.
Stop wasting.
No, you can't leave it. You can't leave a bowl of apple, and like the milk that it leaves, like that's the best part. You know.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's so
sweet,
good.
like pinkish milk. It's bomb.
Angry Baneling says, Mr. Hook, I'm a big fan of Pay Up Gay Boys. You, sir, are an absolute legend. Never let anyone tell you different. Waterboard the dissenters.
Thank you.
Phoenix Lord Asserman says, Nick wants to go watch Inseminoids. No, that was so bad. It was so bad.
What is it?
I watched a bad 80s horror movie last night called Inseminoid.
What's that about?
Wow.
What do you think it was about?
I mean, I know what it's about.
It wasn't actually about that, though.
What was it about?
Like, you're thinking this is going to be a schlocky 80s horror movie with, like, a bunch of pointless nudity and aliens who inseminate the women in.
Clearly what we come to see.
That's what the cover art shows. That's what I'm expecting. And that's not what happens. It happens to one chick, sort of, and a real awkward scene. It was a British movie, though. It wasn't.
Oh, you know what? You know what I saw the other day, which was amazing, was like it was Tremors 3, I think.
Yes.
It was set in like the Arctic North, and the giant slugs had gone into the polar ice caps. It was fucking crazy.
Oh damn!
I love the Tremors movies, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that on Prime?
What is it? What is this big brain they're talking about in the chat?
Okay, so occasionally I do I was going to invite you off the stream, but I might as well do it now. I do a big brain panel where it's just me and a couple other lawyers. We just get together and talk about literally whatever law-related stuff. So it's a little more law-focused than any other show. And
I see. All right.
Yeah. So I was going to invite you to.
I wasn't familiar with it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'd love to.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, he practices in LA, another one practices in Michigan, and then another one practices down in Florida and Texas. And so it's usually like the 4 or 5 of us, depending on who can make it. And we just talk legal topics. So
nice.
Okay, Kiwi Goes Live says Trump should have called Biden a dog-faced pony soldier when Biden told him to shut up. Tenjen Ken says, holy cow, the mad lad Captain Hook himself. And he says, here's money. Ask Chris to call me a gay boy.
Oh my goodness.
You don't have to unless you want to, but
I can't, man.
Yeah.
I can't. We have very strict rules in California.
That place is so cucked, man.
I'm with you there in heart.
God.
Mario Carter 13 says Drex's persona equals an otter. Crack open them clam waps. Come on. I hate Yankees says Drexel, you're made supreme ruler of the world. How do you fix society?
By killing off all the useless people in Minecraft. Kim Jong-un is an innovator, Nick.
Despotism. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you got to. You only want the best and brightest, right? So why do you look, Chris? Nick and I had a villain that we really loved as kids.
Oh no!
You know what I'm about to say. You're true savior.
What, Hitler?
So Apocalypse from X-Men Saturday morning cartoon, right?
Okay.
He had the vision of a purified world, Nick. Because here's the thing,
man. You're on a slippery slope here, man.
Here's the thing.
But he's sure-footed as a mountain goat. Don't worry about him.
Here's the thing, Chris. Here's the thing. Everyone has worked somewhere where they had someone who was literally useless, right? You've been there, I've been there, right?
Absolutely.
And you're always thinking to yourself, why do I have to carry this dead weight? You talked about it at the bank, Nick. Useless. And they're usually
don't ever work at
let's
a
just
bank.
say they usually have chromosomes that are what, Nick? XX. You have a lot of useless people, right? And my thing is this: why are these people here? It's serious. Like that's a serious question. Why are they here? They're useless. And so my thing is this, Chris. I don't like carrying dead weight, right?
Yeah.
No one does. No one likes to go like, you don't like breaking your back, right? You're working hard, you're working long, and you look over, you're like, this person is, you know about the Mouse Utopia, right? The Mouse Utopia experiment. It's socialism. It's the experiment, Nick, that shows what? Eventually, everyone just goes like this. Well, fuck it, I'm not even going to do anything anymore. Because why? Because if someone is just
God, I can't wait to get there.
If someone is feeding off of your labor, you just stop caring. Like it happens with most places, right? A person comes in, they go like this, oh, I'm going to bust my ass, I'm going to go hard. Once there's no benefit to that, because the useless people just feed off of what you're doing, you eventually just, fuck it, man, I'm done. You either lower your productivity or you just leave. We haven't evolved, man.
Someone says he doesn't like carrying dead weight. That's why his head is so small. Okay, sorry. Snark Marks. Chris, tell me about the legal teams for Infinity, Anchorgen, Multi-State, and Dairyland insurance companies.
Oh, man.
Have you had to work with any of them?
For who? Say that again.
Infinity, Anchorgen, Multi-State, and Dairyland.
Multi-State and Dairyland. I've never worked with them. I worked with Infinity before. They're bottom feeders. That's all I have to say about them.
What about Multi-State? I've never heard of Multi-State. I don't know.
Multi-State, I've never heard of. That sounds like a real cut rate freaking insurance company.
Look, they spent all of their budget on marketing, and it wasn't much. Bad Vibe says lawyers with unhealthy coping mechanisms. I could make a joke on that, but unfortunately God beat me to it. Oh, come on. Cough to sack cough. Rants who says the people who called Ethan Ralph a predator for dating a 19-year-old also watched his sex tape. What does that make them?
Right.
Well, sad. Anyone who watched that sex tape was not happy. Archangel of Life says, let's get ready for Mike Electric Fence Pence. Ryan North says, I guess that's because Trump has COVID. Oh, my God. Ryan North says, what can you tell us about insurance and riot damage?
I think riots are typically covered under insurance. I think it's usually a covered peril. So
really, I figured that'd be one of those things that they write out.
Yeah, I think like damage from looting is typically covered, but it depends on the policy. Like sometimes they do exclude civil unrest. It just really depends on like the contract. Insurance is it's a contract at its heart, and all the exclusions have to be written in there. So you got to look, and different policies have different exclusions. So,
would you advise people getting insurance to hire an attorney to look over policies?
It depends. Like business owners, yeah, if you have a lot on the line, or if you have valuable assets that you're insuring, or you're insuring, yourself for liability and you need a high amount, yeah, definitely. But like if you're just a renter or you have a small home, typically you don't need it. But it's good to be well insured. Like for as much as I talk shit, like insurance is a really important way of mitigating your risk in this world. So it's important to have good insurance and have it in good limits, good amounts.
Yeah,
so,
you may have to fight for it, but if you don't have it, you don't even get that opportunity.
Yeah, and there's also there's a big difference in companies. Like you can, by Googling companies, you can kind of find out a little bit about their reputation. There's companies that really do stand by their policyholders. There's like Chubb and New York Life. There's other ones that do a good job, but there's also some real shitty ones. So you got to do your homework.
Have you ever dealt with Farm Bureau?
Farm Bureau? I don't think I have.
I don't know if they're out in California.
Yeah.
I was just curious. Okay, James Michael Doyle says, did you guys see the cease and desist Bill Murray received? It's not gay boy levels of funny, but it was pretty damn good. I didn't read it again. Eddie Most 1000 says, Mr. Hook sounds like he would be a welcome addition to the Big Brain panel. Let's go full Elon and make it happen. Kalinka Pavlova says, hey, Nick, Drex, and Mr. Hook. Just want to let you know, you all know that since Nick last showed Lizzo on stream, I lost 5 kilograms.
You showed Lizzo on stream?
I did. And that she lost 5 kilograms since then.
Well, I'm happy about that, but why did you show Lizzo?
I learned it from watching you. Please follow Keck7Go for furry porn on Twitter. I had to mute so many accounts. Rhino says, most of the rioters are trust fund babies who don't have to work. UBI would allow every progressive to riot 24/7. In theory, people would improve themselves a la Star Trek, but instead we get Mad Max. Mario Carter 13 says, extra value meal added tax. Angry Baneling says, Nick, they teach video editing on lynda.com. Joshua Vidrine says, Chris, I'm a big fan of your work. You've got a good heart, man. Drex, you're crazy. I love almost every word that comes out of your mouth. No homo, though. Terrible Game Master says, so mad I'm making my first super chat. Oh, thank you. California has a lot of homeless people because they make it difficult to build new homes and difficult to start businesses through high taxation. It's always the government's fault. Peter Pete says, ask Chris, does he think it funny California people are mad about the 10-day waiting period? I assume it's about guns, right?
Yeah, that's about purchasing a handgun. No, I think that's a reasonable, limit. People are used to it by now. That's been around for a long time. So I don't think there's people that are upset by it.
I don't like waiting periods on buying guns because I'm like old fashioned, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, now what the level of destruction that you can achieve with modern firearms is so serious, and it's so far beyond like the ball and musket shit that was around when the Constitution was written. I think it's important. I'm a big Second Amendment guy, but I think there's certain things like cooling off periods. I think they're warranted, but there's no limit. There's still no limit to the amount of guns you can buy in California, and you can still get an assault rifle.
Melissa Boomer of the Night says, actually, I love your mods. They give good grift for likes. Can't stay. Love the Greer stream. Oh, thanks, Melissa. Ace of Spades says, Kermit asks, how do you guys feel about Hollywood asking for a bailout? Don't bail them out. Don't bail them out. Someone else can take up that essential task of making art, in my opinion.
Baby eaters. Adrenochrome.
I don't even care about that. Like, I mean, I do care about that, but like, that's not the reason I say no bailout. Like, they're just
pedos, bro.
The entertainment industry. Someone else can entertain people, in my opinion. I don't
like you.
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying.
Stop.
Fuck for Nick.
Joshua Vidrine says socialism is stepping on the road to communism, and death is a preferable alternative to communism. Fellas, we can't let God do all the work. Oh no. Biden the Coleman says, great show. Hope you're doing well, Chris and Drexel. No movie tonight, Nick? No. It's too hot. It's so
hot in here.
Colfi 2A wannabe Hunan Muhammad says, Drex is kind of looking like a Goomba from Super Mario movie. Just saying.
Oh, wow. Savage. Is that movie on? Because that movie's terrible.
I love that.
And they had the weird heads. Yeah, I don't know why my head looks so weird on this thing tonight.
It's just the angle. You're leaned back away from the camera. If I like put it up and
because on you it's like up, like kind of at your face. Yeah.
But everybody also thinks I look short.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
They're all like, "Oh, you're tiny," and then I meet them.
Well, yeah. So Chris, all the artist depictions of Nick, he looks like this little manlet, and I'm like, he's like 6'3".
Yeah. How tall are you, Chris? If I may ask. If you don't want to say, it's okay because it's the.
I'm like 5'10". I'm not a huge guy. I'm like kind of right in the bell curve.
Sure.
But I think it's the big backrest on your chair. It kind of like makes you look a little diminutive.
Yeah, and well, my camera points down too, which it doesn't help. And people only ever see me sitting. I'm gonna just have
Drexel, you look like a big boy, man. You look like you're like at least 6'4", 6'5".
He's 5'1". It's all camera angles.
I'm the same height as Tom Cruise, I promise. Like, no. If you've seen Tom Cruise, you've seen me. And
you got risers in your shoes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like Prince.
All right, let's. There's only a little bit left. Let's get through these. Terrible
All
Game
right.
Master says, LA literally denied the homeless people free tiny houses. Some musician literally already tried this and the government stopped them. Put them all in the tiny houses.
Oh shit!
I wanted to buy a plot of land out here that was had a bunch of lakeshore. And my idea was I was going to sell the lakeshore property, individual lots for nice value because it was undeveloped and had really nice beach access. But then I wanted to build a set of little houses because there's a circle drive. It's like you could put these little houses on there and have a common green area in the middle, and it could be like kind of like cabin homes for people or whatever if they wanted, or they could live there, I guess. And then where we live, your lot has to have 80,000 square feet.
Jesus.
And so you need to have this big giant lot. I was like, but I want these little tiny houses, and that wouldn't make any sense. And it killed the entire prospect of it. I hated it. This is why I'm not a real estate developer. Synag 8 says Drexel Rekieta has a nice ring to it. Rogue says thoughts on why the heck Democrats keep pushing for unsecured mass mail-in voting. They say will Trump cheat, yet they appear to be setting up to cheat. I don't know. I think the majority of people who support it are not interested in cheating. I think there are some who might be, but it's just a different way to do things. I think we should blockchain vote, where your vote is registered on the blockchain. It's tracked by a number that is encrypted that no one can know, but it's yours. And that way they can't see who you voted for, but it's all logged, and we can actually have a record of who voted. And who didn't. That's how I think we should do it. If we don't want to do ID voting, just do blockchain distributed voting. And you can do that at centers. Like, you don't have to do it from people's homes or whatever. Biden the Cold One says, yeah, New Jersey sucks. I'm still trying to settle my father's estate, and all of New Jersey is just closed or slow. I would not want to do probate right now. Oh my God. You just gave me
probate's
trauma.
so slow. Probate's, yeah.
Tyrannosaurus Rex says Drex is so headstrong, but his head is small. Big brain. Biden the Coleman says, lol, Drex, you do have a tiny head, chin up. Oh, God, you're getting roasted.
I'm getting roasted today. I love it.
Terrible Game Master says, in Liberty Prime voice, death is a preferable alternative to communism. I don't think that's Liberty Prime voice, but I couldn't think of what it is. Bro Tato says, Drex is right about the public libs. I wasn't inner city. All I did was play Vidya. So many kids did it. The library had to change the rules. Oh, public libraries.
Yep.
They had to hire pro IT guy because the kids were good at the basic workarounds.
Yep.
Bad Vibe says, what about the ones that don't get into the big leagues? Aren't those the homeless in this case? No. The ones who don't get in. Oh, I guess you're saying like.
The sports analogy.
Yeah, but like what? Like minor league baseball? Minor league baseball is rude. That's like selling you a promise that you may never get. I don't like it. Yep. The Izzy Experience says some are already speculative whether Trump is faking the coup for Chad points. He's too strong for COVID for simp points for those worried for him. You know, who cares? He's either got it or he doesn't. Easy V Titan says, does Trump really have COVID, or is it just a Democrat plot to keep him from thrashing Biden and the moderator again? I doubt it. Houston says, can confirm that Portland is the biggest reason Oregon's a blue state. Where I live, we got cowboys that chew tobacco and shoot 45 ACP all day.
It is.
Peter Pete says Drexel is an air marshal. Mario Carter 13. You think I would have a Fed in my house? Oh my goodness.
Passenger 57.
Mario Carter 13 says happy endings, new beginnings, condom factory.
Oh. Wow.
That's a good one.
Mugen One says, Drex, did you catch your man Big Hurt on Jesse Lee Peterson?
Oh, was he?
I don't know, but it sounds
I should probably text or call my man Big Hurt tomorrow. I need to get him on the show, Nick.
You do.
I know. He'd be a great guest, man.
Bad Vibe says, Democide Drex for King. David Bowser says, that camera angle's making Drex's head look like a Goomba from that old live-action Super Mario. Bad Vibe says, Chris, look up the Puckle gun, father of the Gatling gun and Metal Storm. Peter Pete says, is in Chris's experience, there should be a 10-day waiting period on buying a car. People can cause more damage than a buggy. So there you go. And let's see, Meximan, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left, and then we're all done. Meximan and Cheese says, when talking about poor people, please refrain from saying we don't want them to live like animals. Animals are self-reliant. That takes hard work. Come on, man. Crusader Saracen says politicians shouldn't be able to dangle my freaking money in front of other people as a bribe for their vote, which is what politicians always inevitably do, be it the Roman, bread dole, or welfare. See every Democrat, blue, urban fortress, and otherwise red states. Maury Povich says, you say you're a big Second Amendment guy, but your support of 10-day waiting periods proves that false. Just because people have gotten used to it doesn't mean it's not unreasonable or stupid or infringing on our rights. I didn't know if you wanted to respond to that or not. Chris, you can. Or...
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think there's anything inconsistent about that. There's reasonable, restrictions on the Second Amendment. You shouldn't be able to buy a freaking anti-aircraft missile or a tank or
I disagree.
military.
I want them all.
No, I mean, it would be great. Like I've heard that you can go to Cambodia and shoot a bazooka, and I'm all for that. But no, I mean,
booking flights.
Modern weapons are so deadly, so destructive. Like look at what happened in there's so many examples, but Las Vegas, like what that guy did with a couple assault rifles and a bump stock, like you got to have some restrictions in my view.
Kermit the Frog says, all systems nominal, weapons hot, mission the destruction of any and all Chinese communists. America will never fall to communist invasion. Democracy is non-negotiable. Vic Mignana, I'm not doing Vic's voice. Death is a preferable alternative to communism. Communists detected on American soil. Lethal force engaged. Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory impossible. Communism is the very definition of failure. And that's what we've got, man.
All right.
Oh, my goodness. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I would love to have you on for a big brain panel. I'll hit you up and give you plenty of advance notice and let you know. They're almost always on a Friday. So if that fits in your schedule and you'd want to come on, you would be welcome at any time.
Yeah, I would love to. I had a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to meet you, Drexel.
It's a pleasure.
I really enjoyed hearing your points of view on the issues, and it was really a pleasure to be on the show, Nick. I appreciate it. I'd love to come on again in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And one day I'm just going to show up on your doorstep and be like dumplings.
Yeah, man, let's go. I'm nearby. I'll take you to the bomb spot for sure.
But Chris, the question remains: are you down
What'd
to
you
come
say?
with Nick and us to Cambodia?
Yeah, are you gonna come to
shoot this bazooka?
You gonna come to Cambodia with us and shoot some bazookas?
I've been to Cambodia. It's an amazing place to travel, and the rumor is you can go to Cambodia and for like $400 or $500 you can take a bazooka and fire around at a old car and just blow the shit out of it.
This must happen.
That sounds like a blast. All right, so
Worth
Chris,
every penny.
If you could hang out for just a second, I always like to say goodbye to my guests in private. We'll end the stream and then we'll sign off right after. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. Come catch Drex and I tomorrow night. We got some weird conversation coming, I think.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. All right. Hope you guys have a good night. Peace.